that we can put on that's brighter. Something that we can, because the room needs to get a little bit brighter. So we'll work on that. Shalom, Israel, and the water for listening in and coming to class. And today's class was based off a question about from last week about guilt and shame. All right, so we want to first give a shout out to all the brothers that teach this truth and that's a part of our sister church, ISBHPK Houston, ISBHPK Virginia, ISBHPK, Albuquerque, California. All the brothers that teach this truth that's a part of our body, our church body. So our message is to the 12 tribes of Israel, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So we want to say shalom to you. This message is for you predominantly. And we're going to go ahead and get started. This was a question that a brother asked about guilt. Where does it come from? How do you beat it? How do you defeat it? How do you overcome it? Because there's a lot of times where our mistakes may be getting the best of us. And our mistakes may be hard to overcome and not allowing us to move forward in life because of the shame or the how bad we feel based upon our mistakes, based on what we've done in the past. I don't know how the Most High is going to forgive me. I don't know how I'm going to overcome this situation. I don't feel like the Most High is going to let this slide. We tell ourselves these things. It's too late for me. The salvation is impossible. There's a lot of things that we tell ourselves that keeps us trapped in a particular mind frame that's not progressive, and it keeps us in a mental prison that we instead of fighting out of it, we go further into whatever it is that we're dealing with, whatever problem we have. We just start soaking in our sins and our negativity, and we start drowning in depression or drowning in anxiety or all these things that kind of detach us from the Most High. So the question that the brother asked last week was, how do you overcome guilt? Guilt is something that he'll log on. I talked to him. Okay. Yeah. It's something that we all have because we're all sinners. So we all make mistakes. So there's no one that doesn't make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? We're all here to change and get better. So the idea is to know what to do when these thoughts come on us. And where do these thoughts come from? Where is the origin of this? How do I overcome guilt? So the first thing we're going to do is go to the beginning. Where does the guilt come from? So pretty simple and precise and clear is Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. We're going to start the class with Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Just to give a precise, clear understanding of where this guilt comes from, where does this shame come from. So Hebrews chapter 12, and we're going to read verse 1. I see you want to go ahead.
Hebrews chapter 12.
You know what? Let a brother read, so that way we can put that. Let me get that. Yeah. Yeah.
Verse 1.
Come. And then you can put that. You can put Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. All right.
You ready?
Yep. Come.
Wait, you want it right here? What?
You know what? It's cool right there. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1 is fine.
Ready?
You can put it here. You can put overcoming guilt and then put that overcoming guilt back and then put it up here.
Done deal.
You know what I'm saying? Since we got everything.
Makes sense. Got you, sir.
All right. Everybody got it?
All right.
Okay.
Reads Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses,
Go ahead.
let us lay aside every weight.
It says, because we have the Most High, we have Christ, and we have not just the Most High in Christ, but the Most High has angels that walk about us, that shield us from negative. So we have a cloud of witnesses. We have a cloud of individuals that's there to help us and restore us and protect us. So we're not alone. Read on.
And the sin which doeth so easily beset us.
And he says, but also amidst the cloud of witnesses, we're on stage. You're being watched. So amidst not only you're being watched, but amongst us, he says that there's something else that you got to look out for. You know, he says you got to watch out for what?
And the sin which doeth so easily beset us.
He says, and the sin that doeth easily beset us. Now, when you look at the definition of this word beset, it means, it has a great meaning to it. It means skillfully surrounding.
Wow.
So he's telling us that sin is put together around us like a defense plays defense in a football game. Sin has different playbooks. Sin has a playbook. Sin is skillfully arranged to knock you out or to take you out of your course. And this is situated around you in this life. Another definition of the word beset is, as it says, a competitor thwarting, or to thwart, or to mean to cast off course, to knock off somebody. It says a competitor thwarting a racer in every direction. So that's like you being on a track and field race, and you coming around the corner and you in first place.
Yeah.
And somebody just comes out of nowhere, not even in the race. Somebody just come in and just clip you and trip you. Who wasn't even part of the race, and they knock you down while you're running. And he says this is the definition of the word beset. It's like somebody that's intentionally trying to knock you off your course. So what sin is made around us to go against as an antagonist or as an opponent, to take you off your course that you run with that you're trying to obtain as you're running on your course to please the Most High. Oh yeah, read that. Beset.
Beset 1828. To press on all sides.
It says to press on all sides. So sin is always pressing against you.
Wow.
This is something that you have to deal with every day. A lot of times we just don't understand or see or not conscious of where the sin is coming from. We don't know when somebody or where my next sin will take me out, clip me, trip me, bulldoze me, drop kick me off my course that I'm racing with the Most High.
This is awesome, man.
Go ahead.
It says so as to perplex.
So to per what?
To perplex.
The purpose of sin is to do what?
Perplex. It makes my life more complicated.
It's to confuse you.
To confuse. God.
Right. To perplex is to confuse you. That is what sin does. Sin is in the world and it's surrounding you, and its purpose is to confuse you.
Got one more.
Go ahead.
To entangle. So as
We've heard this word before.
she was telling the truth.
She was telling the truth. It was an entanglement. But what she didn't say was it was her lust that caused the entanglement. God. She blamed it on the entanglement itself. She blamed it on the sin itself.
I was perplexed.
She was perplexed. She was confused. It was the confusion of the situation.
I don't know who to
blame.
Where's my husband?
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's showing you that sin, you got to look at sin differently to understand what its purpose is. Sin is designed to knock you off your rhythm.
Yeah.
It's to take you off course and to leave you confused and discombobulated and uncertain of where you are in your life.
Wow.
That's why it says to perplex.
It says so as to render escape difficult or impossible.
Man, so sin is set up to take you out of your race for righteousness. As to what the last part said?
To make escape difficult?
To make escape difficult. So the thing that makes life difficult, the thing that makes life perplexed, the thing that makes life confusing is what?
And the sin which doeth so easily beset us.
What's the thing that makes life difficult?
Sin.
What's the thing that brings about an entrapment or an entanglement?
Sin.
It's the sin that we do that causes life to be so difficult.
God.
That easily besets us. Read on.
And let us run with patience.
It says, but let us run with what?
Patience.
So now I'm not supposed to get panicked when I make a mistake or sin is amongst me or around me. I'm supposed to be patient understanding where it's coming from. I got to identify, where is this sin coming from? Why do I feel confused? Why do I feel guilty? Why do I feel perplexed or ashamed? Why do I walk around with this guilty conscience on my mind? Why can't I be happy? You know, so the first thing that we do is we start trying to look for happiness. We start trying to find, we're on the pursuit of happiness. We start trying to look for whatever feels good, sounds good, tastes good, smell good, to compensate and overcome the feeling that we get from entertaining sin. So we're looking to compensate the feeling that sin that sin brings upon me. Right? Read on.
The race that is set before us.
And he says that, it says, run with patience the race that is set before us. So sin, when it says beset, it's a competitor that's thwarting or knocking off. It's like an obstacle course. Not even an obstacle course. But it's made to make life difficult for you to where you don't know how to get out of the circumstance. It is like an obstacle course. The scriptures say the trial of a man is in his reasoning. It's how you look at things. It's how you judge things. So it's the mistakes that we make in our life that spins us into a world of confusion.
It's like that American Ninja.
Yeah, and they shooting tennis balls at you. You know what I'm saying?
God.
American Gladiator.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You got guys shooting tennis ball. You got the pugil sticks.
Yeah.
You got people knocking you off the balancing beam with the pugil sticks. That's what sin is doing, man. It's made to knock you off your race with the Most High. And so a lot of times we're left with this guilt. This guilt or this shame is just what is the result or the outcome of entertaining sin.
Wow. Okay.
So it's the origin. It's the beginning of shame. It's the beginning of confusion. It's the beginning of depression. It's the beginning of perplexity. I'm perplexed. I'm thwarted. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be doing in my life. I don't know where I'm at with my life.
It's crazy, bro.
I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I'm uncertain I'm uncertain that what the Most High has me here for. I don't even know why I'm here. This is when you start telling yourself this. I don't know if I'm worthy. I don't know why I'm here, why I was created. I don't know what the Most High is trying to show me. I don't know what all I know is that it's things that keep coming against me, but it's the sin that's there that's causing the initial issue. But we start thinking, I'm no good for myself. This is when the depression and the confusion, I don't even know who I am anymore as a person.
Self-value has to decline.
Your self-worth, or you start to tell yourself, I lost my way. Because that's what sin does. It's designed to knock you off course. So it will make you lose your way. And you will start telling yourself, man, what am I supposed to be doing? Where am I supposed to be going in my life? I don't even know if I'm worthy of salvation anymore. I don't even know if I'm important in my life. Why am I even here? Man, sin will do this to you. So it's the beginning of the origin of shame or guilt or a variety of other things that leaves a person confused. Right? So let's go to Proverbs. Matter of fact, you know, one of the things that Paul so eloquently put in Romans chapter 7 verse. Let's go to Romans real quick. Romans chapter 7. Start around. Let's go to Romans chapter 7. And let's start at 14. Romans chapter 7, verse 14.
Romans chapter 7, verse 14. For we know that the law is spiritual.
It said, for the law is what?
Spiritual.
The law is spiritual. The law is good. Because you know what the law does? It helps me get back on track. For what sin has done to me to knock me off my course, the law helps me reestablish myself. It helps me regain balance and direction. It recalibrates what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's what the law is good for. Read on.
But I am carnal.
He says, but if I don't have anything to adjust me, to get me back on track, I will remain what?
Carnal.
Go ahead.
Sold under sin.
Now I'm a slave to sin. Now I'm a captive to the things that beset us, which sin besets us. Now I'm a captive to depression. I'm a captive to anxiety, panic attacks, confusion. Now I start telling myself, man, man, you know what? What's wrong with me? You really start asking yourself, what is wrong with me? I got problems, and I don't even know where they're coming from.
And is that a natural dialogue to have?
That is a natural dialogue to have, because what's happened is it's the sin that is occurring within me that's got me confused to where I don't even know what's going on in my life. I don't even know what's going on right now. I don't know if the Most High is with me, not with me. I don't know if he's against me. I'm uncertain of myself, and I'm uncertain of my position, and I'm uncertain of my place in my life.
Or people say, is there a Most High after a certain period of time?
Yeah. Then you start to even question,
Is there a Most High?
is there a God? Is he with me? All these things are just confusion. But this is what sin does. Sin knocks you off your rhythm. It knocks you off course. Read on.
Romans 7:15. For that which I do, I allow not.
And that's the confusion that Paul's explaining right here. Paul's explaining what the hell is wrong with me. He's saying, what? Read that part again.
For that which I do, I allow not.
He says, I myself am doing something that I know damn well I don't tolerate from other people. The thing that I don't tolerate in other people, I'm finding myself victim or being in subjection to the things that I know is wrong. I'm slipping. Or we would say, I'm tripping. That's what we say today. I'm tripping, man. What the hell is wrong with me? I'm tripping. I'm slipping. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What's my problem? I need medication. You start telling yourself all kind of things. But what Paul is explaining right here is this is the natural, normal thought process to what a person is left with after sin contaminates or defiles them, or after they've entertained sin. Read on.
For what I would, that do I not.
He says the things that I want to do, that I should do, he said I what?
I do not.
I don't do. So why is Paul so confused? Why is Paul so perplexed at the fact that he understands what's right, but to be able to do what's right, he's having a hard time. He's having a hard time overcoming himself. Read on.
But what I hate, that do I.
He says, but the things that I hate, I do things that I hate about myself. There's things that I hate about myself. What the hell is wrong with me? There's parts of me that I don't like. And that's where the guilt comes in at.
Does it become a complex?
Oh, it does become a complex. You know, it becomes a complex or a psychological characteristic that you have to overcome. That can easily become a part of your character. That can easily be, you could be overcome and you could be stuck or remain in this guilt-ridden mind frame or confused mindset.
I can get stuck in that situation.
You can get stuck in
that
it.
mindset. Okay.
A lot of people get stuck in this mind frame. Read on.
If then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good.
Then obviously, you know what? Then the law is necessary, because what Paul is saying is, I don't have any control. I'm losing control. So I need something to steer me back in the right direction. The law is necessary for me to give me guidance again, to give me confidence again, to give me a pure outlook again, to recalibrate my thought process. Read on.
Now then it is no more that I do it, but sin that dwelleth in me.
He said, it's not me that's making these mistakes. It's not me as a person. I don't have an ill desire to not be a good person. I want to change. I just can't. I want to do good, but I keep making mistakes. I'm trying to be better, but I keep falling victim to my old ways. I'm stuck in a rut.
Okay.
So he said, obviously, then what's the problem? What's the issue that I'm having? Is it me that I'm just no good? Is it me that I'm just a waste of life? Or is it the fact that there's something in me that I haven't defeated or I'm not conscious of that's controlling me?
Different story.
So what he's doing is he's analyzing what the issue is, which we all do. We all start self-reflecting. Each and every one of us starts self-reflecting on, man, am I where I'm supposed to be at? And if I'm not, what am I doing with myself? We all seem to be imbalanced in a way. But it's necessary that we get back on track. But we have to recognize what it is that's getting us off track. It can be. It can be a possession. But a possession is nothing more than mere thoughts. Before you do something, you have to what? You have to think about it. You think it before you do it. So you don't just do something. The thought manifests first, and then you perform what you're thinking. It said, out of the hearts of men proceed what? Evil thoughts. So obviously, out of the heart of men is what? It's the way. It's what I think, and then I act upon, or I continue to delve on these thoughts. I continue to dwell on these thoughts. As a man thinking in his heart, so is he, right?
God.
So I become this person. I'm confused now. I'm lost now. I'm scattered now. I'm not sure where I'm at with the Father. And this leaves people in a really bad predicament. And that's what shame does. That's what sin does. Sin displaces you in life. It displaces you from where you should be going. And Paul's explaining this displacement. He's explaining this perplexion. He's explaining this confusion that sin puts us in. Read on.
For I know that in me, that is in my flesh.
It says, I know that in me, not in my mind, I want to do right. For the spirit is willing, but the flesh is what?
Weak.
The flesh is weak. I know I should be doing right.
I'm better than this.
I'm better than this.
That's what the first thing I
Yeah,
say. I'm better than this.
You know what? Sometimes
That's a real thing, huh?
Sometimes people tell themselves with tears in their eyes.
That's facts.
Some people cry because they know deep down inside they are better than this. But they're just not convinced enough to come out of their rut. Because there's something that they're not identifying. They think it's them. They think it's me. It's not you. It's the sin that's in you. It's the negative that's in you that has you left in this condition.
Come.
It's the negative that's in you that leaves you with no confidence. That robs your confidence. Read on.
Dwelleth no good thing.
He said, in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth what?
No good thing.
No good thing. Go ahead.
For to will is present with me.
He said, does Paul want to be right?
Come.
Does he want to do people right?
Come.
Does he want to be good to himself?
Come.
Does he want to be good for other people?
Come.
But read on.
But how to perform that which is good, I find not.
He said, but how to do it, I keep slipping. I keep backsliding. I keep making a mistake. I can't get things right. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say, sugar is my stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's that battle.
That's the battle.
I let myself get addiction to it, and so I like sugar. It's in me. It's the body craves, but I know it's not good.
Right.
You know, getting diabetes, it could lead to death. So I know I shouldn't have none. But that's the battle that I run into. You know, you go to the supermarket, boom, there it is.
It's in everything.
You know, you got people to give it away for free. It's like, that's my little thing.
Right.
I'm not gonna turn something down free.
Free.
You know?
Knowing that I like it and it's free.
Yeah, it's like double whammy. So,
Yeah.
But to know that it's that desire in me. Me individually, personally, no, I'm not wicked off. It's just that's inside of me.
Right.
But I need to come back and realize I've got that desire, and I need to cut that because it's detrimental to me.
Right. And you have to recognize what it is that's got you craving it. Is it really the spirit that's craving it, or is it really the flesh? You know, everything pertains to the flesh. You know, that's the battle that we fight when we're in the flesh. As long as we're in this flesh, we have to drag it along. You have to drag this flesh along with you until the flesh departs. You got to take it with you everywhere you go, and you have to maintain it, and you have to control it, and you have to proportion things to it, give things to it in moderation. Even if I choose to drink, Because drinking was my thing growing up. Like to drink. You know what? But in moderation, it says let all things be done in moderation. I didn't have moderation. I didn't have a limit.
Your environment didn't have a limit either.
Neither did I. You know what? Matter of fact, you were pressured. You were pressured, and you were looked at as weak if you didn't have some type of tolerance.
Come.
You couldn't hold your weight. Man, you can't hold your weight. What are you doing, man? You're lightweight. Why you over there babysitting? Give me that, man. That's alcohol abuse. You know what I'm saying? So, but this is the like you said, the environment. But this is sometimes you have to recognize that what the hell has got me drawn to this? Is it the fact that it's really that good? No, hangovers, throwing up, sick, tickets, warrants, jail, it leads to all kind of things. Is it really that good? No. But what has my mind going to it constantly? It's the sin that's in me. It's the flesh. It's that side of me that causes me to be attracted to these things. Paul is explaining this battle and this war between the spirit and the flesh. He's explaining that what you're left with once you've entertained sin, you're left with a guilty conscience. You're left with a shameful countenance. This is the remaining remnants of what happens when you indulge. Man, I know I shouldn't have done that. One example of this, go to 1 Samuel, just to read one example of this. Hold Romans real quick. Yeah, I want you to go to 1 Samuel. Let me find it real quick. One example of this. And David, I think did the best job explaining this right here. Let me get it real quick. It's either 1 Samuel 7. Hold on. I got to get this right here.
Yeah, I was gonna say
1 Samuel 24.
Okay, 1 Samuel chapter 24.
Mm-hmm. 1 Samuel 24. Give me verse start at verse 1.
Come.
Mm-hmm. I know where it's coming from.
Okay. Everybody ready?
Yeah. Read that. 1 Samuel chapter 24. Start at verse 1.
1 Samuel chapter 24, verse 1. And it came to pass when Saul was returned from following the Philistines, that it was told him, saying, Behold, David is in the wilderness of Engedi.
Yeah.
Then Saul took
En-Gedi.
3,000 chosen men out of all Israel and went to seek David and his men upon the rocks
Go ahead.
of the old goats.
So now,
wild goats.
now this is Saul. This is Saul chasing after David, right? This is Saul chasing after David, and David was on the run. Matter of fact, read chapter 27, verse 1, real quick.
27 verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 27 verse 1. And David said in his heart, I shall not now perish one day by the hand of Saul.
What did David say?
I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul.
He said, I shall perish, man. If this man catch me, man, this
I'm
man's
done.
gonna kill me. He said, I'm gonna die if this man get a hold of me. Read on.
There is nothing better for me than that I should speedily escape into the land of the Philistines.
Okay, so this is David being on the run, man. He was on the run. Jump back to where you was at in 24.
Better with the Philistines.
Yeah, it's better to be with the Philistines than to be next
Verse
to
3,
Saul,
right?
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And he came to the sheep cotes by the way, where was a cave, and Saul went into cover his feet. And David and his men remained in the sides of the cave. And the men of David said unto him, Behold the day of which the Lord said unto thee, Behold, I will deliver thine enemy into thy hand.
He said, man, this is the day you've been waiting on. This is the day you've been praying for. That the Most High got Saul in the same cave that you hiding in, using the bathroom, unbeknownst
Sleep.
that you caught him slipping.
Yeah.
Go ahead. There's your opportunity. This is what you've been praying for. Read on.
that thou mayest do to him as it shall seem good unto thee.
Man, this is God sent, man. Only the Most High can set this up. Read on.
Then David arose and cut off the skirt of Saul's robe privily.
And he said he did it privately, meaning he did it without making himself known. He did it in secret. So he cut a piece of Saul's robe off in secret. Go ahead.
And it came to pass afterward that David's heart smote him.
Now he said, now it came to pass that David, he did it stealthily, he did it in secret. But it's something that came over David that caused him to regret his decision. It's something that came over David to cause him to say, man, that wasn't right. Even though it looked like an opportunity, something's not right about this, man. Something is not right about what I just did. Read on.
Because he had cut off Saul's skirt.
Go ahead.
And he said unto his men.
This is an example of the conscience bearing down on you. This is an example of guilt, of regret, of what happens when you do something out of that's disrespectful. And why was it disrespectful? Read on.
The Lord forbid that I should do this thing unto my master.
He said, because it's my what?
Master.
It's because David said, man, this is not right, because it's still my what?
Master.
It's still the man above me. It's still the man in charge. It's still the man over me. It's still disrespectful to the man that the Most High put over me as a king. So this is now an inward battle that you're reading about, that David is going through, and that inward battle is regret. Man, I shouldn't have done this, man. That was disrespectful. It said it smote him in his heart.
This is the wrong, this is complete wrong.
He said, man, to smote means to kill. He said, man, this shit is killing me.
God.
The thought that I'm disrespectful to my elder, to my king, to my master, this thought of this is killing me. But that's what guilt does. That's what it's supposed to do. Read on.
The Lord's anointed.
He said, this is the Most High's what?
Anointed.
Go ahead.
To stretch forth thine hand against him.
He said, I've stretched forth my hand against my master. So it was David's conscience that was playing with him. It's this inner psychology of a man thinking about, man, I made a mistake, man. The Most High put this man in front of me, and here I am stretching forth my hand against him.
You couldn't ignore that. He couldn't play it off.
He couldn't play it off, bro. It bothered him. It bothered him. It bothered him so bad. Read on.
Seeing he is the anointed of the Lord.
Read on. Because the Most High chose him to be over me. Read on.
So David stayed his servants with these words.
Go ahead, because they were eager to kill him. Go ahead.
And suffered them not to rise against Saul.
Go ahead.
But Saul rose up out of the cave and went on his way. And David also arose afterward and went out of the cave and cried after Saul,
Go ahead.
saying, My Lord the king. And when Saul looked behind him, David stooped with his face to the earth and bowed himself.
He did what?
Bowed himself.
You know what? He put himself back in a position of what?
Servant.
A servant, man, with humility. But it started with guilt. It started with regret. It started with him killing him. They said the thought of what he did, the anger within himself. Why did I do that, man? What the hell am I doing?
Is that a good thing to have some type of conscience?
It is a good thing. It is a good. That conscious guilt is good. Shame is good, but it's godly sorrow. But it's two types of shame. Let this go and go to Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 21.
Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 21. Reads.
Let everybody get it. Everybody got it? All right, read that.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 4 verse 21. For there is a shame that bringeth sin.
He said there's two types of shame in the Bible. There's a shame that when you do something wrong, you don't change. There's a shame that you do that You instead of beating, you still beat yourself up. You're still guilty, but you don't do anything afterwards. There's no repentance. There's no sorrow. I don't feel bad. You know what? Who cares? Everybody makes mistakes. So what if I make a mistake? I'm only human. There's two types of shame in the Bible. And he said this type of shame bringeth forth sin, because there's no change in that person. You're supposed to feel some type of shame when you make a mistake. Guilt or shame is necessary and it's purposeful. But it's not purposeful for you to stop caring. It's not purposeful for you to give up and say, you know what? Why try? So what? I did it.
It's a damn shame.
Now that's a damn shame, right? Yes, sir.
Did that fit with just that at the same time?
We're gonna get there too. It said, but there's another type of shame. Read on.
And there is a shame, which is glory and grace.
It said, and there is a shame that brings about glory and grace. David's example was one of them.
Wow.
Let me put myself back in the right position. Because I was out of pocket. I made a mistake. I was wrong. He said that kind of shame, the Most High will come back and return grace. He said the Most High resists the proud, but give grace to who?
The humble.
To the humble. That's why I said that David went back and did what? He bowed himself to Saul. And if you read on in that chapter, he said, you know what? I could have killed you. My men wanted me to kill you. And here's the proof that I could have killed you. But I mean you no harm. And I don't have an evil intention to you. And I don't know who told you that I'm an enemy of yours. See how there's that shame, that guilt can either cause you to not care, or to go further in your negative, or to feel like there's no hope, or there's a shame to make you say, you know what? I was wrong. You know what? Let me humble myself and let me ask the Most High to forgive me.
So one shame motivates a person to do something different.
Yep.
And one shame is like, you know what? I might as well just go in. It's too late.
It's too late. I'm already a sinner.
It's a motivator.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've heard brothers over the years, different ones say, well, I'm just going to be an example of what not to do.
Of what not to do now. Now, yes.
I'm still doing something. I'm telling you, what, don't follow me. Don't do this. Instead
Right.
of, you know what? I feel bad about this. Let me change.
But
Let me make right.
and instead it's don't be like me, be better than me.
I'll still be yourself.
Do as I do. I mean, do as I say, not as I do. Because it's too late for me. I'm gonna keep making mistakes. I'm too far gone.
Oh, that's
Basically, I'm just
that's that crazy talk,
gonna
guy.
about my flesh.
Yeah, that means I have no desire to change. Yeah, sin beat me.
Flesh one.
Yeah, exactly. So go back to Romans 7. Let that go and go to back to Romans chapter 7.
7 and
Because
1.
we might even come back to that. No, go ahead.
Romans 7, verse 19. For the good that I would, I do not.
He says, the good that I should do, I don't do. This is that battle that you go through when sin is around you all day, every day. Sin is playing defense on you all day. Sin is a strategy against you. It's an actual opponent. And it's made to knock you off your game, to take you off your game. It's made to set you off course and leave you confused on where you are in life. It's not that the Most High hates you. It's that you fall victim to the sin and you're left in a certain condition.
So the state, my state of thought and who I am is based off of my sin.
It's based on my sin. And it has two effects. Either I can look at it, acknowledge it, and once I acknowledge it, I can pinpoint it, and I can start making changes as to deviate from the sin, as far as to abstain from the sin, to withdraw myself from these actions or these thoughts. Or I could just say, you know what? I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. I'm just going to give up. Because that's also a mentality that a lot of people are left in.
Yeah.
They're in that I don't care anymore mentality. Or why should I care mentality.
Yeah.
Or it's a hopelessness that I'm left with as far as, you know what? I've made so many mistakes. But the Most High, He ain't gonna forgive me. I'm doomed. I've actually heard people say that.
Dooms. Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm doomed, or I'm cursed.
That's a real one too.
My soul is cursed. I'm a lost cause. There's no hope for me. So, and those people, those are the ones that's dangerous because they play with thoughts. They entertain other thoughts, hurting themselves, cutting themselves, killing themselves. They're playing with what? They're playing with thoughts.
Self destruction. Yeah.
That's now because I don't have any hope. Because sin will do that. Sin will rob you of your hope. It'll rob you of a thought or an opportunity to say, I can be better. I can do better as a person. So what you have to do is let's do this. Go to hold that in Romans. Go to Proverbs chapter 14, verse 26.
Proverbs chapter 14, verse what?
26.
Is everybody there? Proverbs chapter 14, verse 26.
Mm-hmm.
In the fear of the Lord is strong confidence.
It says, but if you maintain a healthy fear of the Most High, what does it give you?
Strong confidence.
It gives you strong confidence. See, the way to defeat the byproduct of sin, because that's what guilt is. That's what a guilty conscience is. That's what shame is. That's what a negative thought is. It's the byproduct of sin. Sin has an effect. And the effect, you're left feeling undervalued as a person. You're left feeling worthless as a person. And so that's the byproduct of sin. So he said, if you fear the Most High and lock into the Most High, he says, then you don't allow sin to do what? To take your confidence away. Because that's what sin will do. That's what shame will do. That's what guilt will do. It'll take your confidence in the Most High away. It alters your relationship with the Father. I don't feel the Most High is even with me anymore. Read on.
And his children shall have a place of refuge.
And he said that you'll always have a safety. Remember what the definition of beset was? You pull that definition of beset.
Yeah.
And it was out of the 1828 Webster's Dictionary. It was a definition of beset.
Got it right here.
I like the one you had better than the one I had.
Yeah. It's not always better, but 828, but
Yeah.
that was strong. Beset. Point 2. To press on all sides
Go ahead.
so as to perplex, to entangle, so as to render escape difficult or impossible.
It says that sin will leave you in a position where you feel like there's no way out. I can't change. There's no hope for me. He said, but the Most High said, if you put your fear in the Most High, he says, therefore your confidence will remain. And he says, his children that believe in him shall have what?
A place of refuge.
You always have a place to escape. You'll never be left feeling depressed and down and walking with your head down all sad. You won't have a broken spirit. In life, you gotta sustain some type of positive outlook at all times. You have to protect your outlook. You can't let your sin, your dirt, your deeds destroy your outlook with the Most High in relationship with the Most High. 1 John chapter 3, verse 21. 1 John chapter 3, verse 21. You have to at all times protect your way of thinking, your positivity, your confidence. 1 John 3 and 21. Confidence is a state of mind.
So can I say this though? So playing with sin is gonna definitely have an effect on my self-image.
Yep.
my self-image, how I feel about myself, my confidence level, all sin does is slowly eat that away.
It erodes it. It erodes the inner man. It erodes the positivity that I'm supposed to have. It robs me of having confidence in my walk, in my talk. My countenance falls. It destroys me from the inside. It changes my personality.
So I ask a question. So people do different things. That's why I know this from observation in this life. People do different things to get their confidence back.
Right.
But they don't address the situation.
Or they fill themselves with alternatives that are not really solutions to the problem. And they look to fill these gaps that sin has placed within themselves. Now I don't have any confidence in the Most High. So now I go to the gym and put confidence in what? My physical. Now I go to the barbershop, I'll go get my hair done, I go get my nails done, because I don't have confidence in the Most High, but I got confidence in what? My looks. Or now I'm trying to, I got to get my money up. I got to make more money so I can feel stronger. It's a lot of things that we do to fill these gaps that sin leaves behind. These holes. So I got to do something to make myself feel better about myself. I got to do something to feel better or to not feel so down. And then you got people around you telling you what to do. Man, you need to go back to school. You need to have a vision board. You have a vision board. You got to write things on the wall. You got to have affirmations. You got to talk yourself into success.
You got to manifest.
You got to manifest success. You got to speak to the atmosphere and the ether. You got to put it out there. I will be successful. You got to say it 25 times a day.
That's real. People do that.
You got to say it 25 times a day every morning.
Or I got to find a new relationship.
I will be successful.
I got to find a new relationship. I gotta eat more food. I got to eat more. Wherever indulging food is good for me, makes me feel good.
Yeah. But you know what? These are alternatives. Because instead of doing what the scriptures say you're supposed to do when you're left with guilt and shame, you're supposed to put your confidence back in the Most High. You're supposed to restore that relationship with Him when you're out of pocket. And you restore that relationship through humility like David did. But he said, read that again.
1 John 3:21. Beloved, if our heart condemn us not, then have we confidence towards the Most High.
If you don't let sin, because sin is what destroys your confidence, sin is what robs you of positivity. Sin is what robs you of a positive outlook. Sin is what robs you and confuses you from making great decisions or good decisions or better decisions in life. So if I maintain my relationship with the Most High and my confidence with the Most High, then I don't let anything destroy that or dilute it or contaminate it. I got to keep my conscience pure. You got to protect your outlook in life. Otherwise, sin will get the best of you. Read it one more time.
Beloved, if our heart condemn us not, then have we confidence towards the Most High.
That heart condemning you is like what David said when he beat on his chest, when his actions of cutting Saul's garment, taking advantage of Saul. He said he started feeling bad about it.
And that was a good thing. He felt bad about it.
That was a good thing.
Because he was almost justified to do it.
You know what?
Not really, but
if you let him tell it, you let his men tell it. I'll say if you let his men tell it, that was his chance. That was his opportunity. Vengeance, the Most High delivered Saul of all places that you could be right now. He was on the run from Saul. How many caves is in the Middle East? 1 million caves, man.
All those caves out.
But for Saul to be in the same cave as David and his men.
Most High hooked it up. Most High set you up.
He set it up. He was a hookup. He could have looked at it like that. But you know what? He didn't. He felt bad because you know what he did? David feared more of how the Most High would look at him more than the way the men looked at him. The men told him, his mighty men told him, this is your chance. Yes, sir.
Actually, they come back and said the Most High said He would deliver your enemies unto
you. Yeah, they even reminded him.
Yeah, but David was like, wait a second, he's not my enemy.
It's a bad call right here.
Lord.
Right.
That's anointed the Most High, I shouldn't even look at me like
That's what happens when you have hype men with you.
Yeah, that's where you can make a bad decision.
Yeah. They make you,
that. Kill us.
you got a hype man next to you, you make a bad decision.
Do it.
You got a yes man. You got a yes man standing next to you. He's going to tell you you're thinking the right way. Man, yeah, exactly how you was thinking. That's exactly how you, what it is, what it's going to be.
Confirmation.
That's confirmation. That's confirmation right there. That's what happens when you have the wrong damn hype man. Get you out of pocket. But he's showing that our confidence rides heavily upon our relationship with the Most High. Having a greater fear of the Most High than anything governs us from making bad decisions and being left in a state of perplexion or confusion. Right. This,
I'm done.
the Most High put this man up, so it's not right that I take him down, and that's how
I
he
do
put
gotta
it.
fear the most.
Right.
But sin is strategizing.
Yeah,
Sin is strategizing, setting us up.
setting us up to take us out of the right mindset.
Okay.
So, 1 John 3:21 one more time, and then somebody give me Hebrews chapter 10 verse 35.
1 John 3:21. Beloved, if our heart condemn us not,
And this is why it's so important that you protect your thought process and you keep your mind positive. You keep your thoughts free from guilt or shame. Read on.
then have we confidence towards the Most High.
And then I can look at things the right way. It's hard to look at the Most High positive when you're drowning in guilt. And where does the guilt come from? The guilt comes from the sin. I let sin get the best of me. I let my mistakes get the best of me. Now I'm drowning in sin, and now I have no way to look at the Most High the right way again. And I tell myself it's too late. There's no hope for me. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 35.
Hebrews chapter 10, verse 35.
Go ahead.
It says, cast not away, therefore, your confidence.
And this is why your confidence should be that you have a healthy fear of the Most High, and you would rather execute His will than your own will.
God.
And if you can do that, then sin has no power against you. What keeps you strong against sin and the byproduct of sin, which is guilt and shame, what keeps you far away from that is fearing the Most High, maintaining His will, His testimonies, His commandments versus your own. Not giving in to what feels good or sounds good to you. Read on.
It says, which hath great recompense of reward.
And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the rewards of maintaining confidence with the Father. But why don't I have confidence with the Father? Proverbs chapter 18, verse 14. Why do I walk around downtrodden, beat up, with little strength, with very little strength, always sad, never happy, always looking hopeless?
No matter if I get a blessing, I'm still got the blessing can't stop the person from thinking about their sin.
Yep. Read that.
Proverbs chapter 18, verse 14. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity.
So if I keep my spirit strong, I keep my mind strong, I keep my mind connected with the Most High, I keep my mind positive. It said that it can sustain infirmity. My situation doesn't get the best of me. Read on.
But a wounded spirit,
But a what?
wounded spirit,
A wounded how? What wounds your spirit? We just read this in Hebrews 12 and 1. What wounds your spirit? Sin. Sin wounds your spirit. Sin robs you of confidence in the Most High. This is what leaves people in a state of depression. This is what leaves people in a state of anxiety. Panic.
Right there.
What you got right there?
1 Corinthians 8 and 12. But when you sin, so against the brethren, and wound their weak conscience.
You wound their what?
And wound their weak conscience.
Break it down. It's perfect.
So when I'm sinning against the brethren, I mean that my example is affecting the men around me, or my example is affecting my relationship with the Father, or my sin or choice, or the sin in me that I decide to obey, the impulse within me, the negative impulse that within me that I choose to satiate and obey. Now that's what? It's going to wound me. What is the wound? The wound means that, you know what? When a person gets wounded, if they get shot, they're bleeding out, right? You're losing power, right? If a person gets punched in the face and start bleeding in their eye, and that they're losing power. They're slowly over time losing power. So when I spiritually sin, I'm losing my spiritual power, which is my confidence, which is my pure outlook, which is my ability to keep extending to people around me, which is my ability to deny myself. That ability or power to keep denying myself starts to slowly leak out, starts to slowly come out. And then I look up and I don't have the ability to resist anymore. I can't resist certain urges. I can't resist certain thoughts. I can't resist certain negative outlooks. I can't resist certain temptations. Why? Because I'm bleeding out. I'm a wounded spirit. I've allowed the effects of sin to water down or dilute my spiritual strength. I'm diluted. I'm watered down.
And it's beautiful you said that. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 29, verse 7 real quick. Just in your explanation of being watered down how? Now because I've been affected by sin, I'm left in a certain state. What is this state? Ecclesiastes 29 and 7. Read that.
Ecclesiastes 29 and 7. Many therefore have refused to lend for other men.
Many therefore have refused. I won't give anybody anything. I ain't gonna let nobody borrow nothing. I ain't giving nobody nothing. Why?
For other men's ill dealing.
Because people have broken my what?
Trust.
My trust has been affected. Now that wound is affected. I don't trust people. I don't trust nobody. I only trust me. I only trust me, myself, and I. I only roll one deep. I'd rather be by myself. I can do bad by my lonely. I tell myself these things. I don't have any friends. I don't need friends. I don't need anybody. Now I start telling myself this because I've been what? Because I've been affected by what? Other people's ill dealings. Because I've let sin affect me somehow. And what did it wound? It wounded my ability to share myself with people. It wounded my positive and pure outlook. Now I don't trust people. You know, I'll be with people to a certain degree. I'll operate next to you to a certain capacity, but I'm still looking at you, man. I'm still looking at you sideways. You know what? I'll deal with you if I have to, but I don't trust you though. I don't believe that you mean well. I don't believe that you mean good. This is what breaks up marriages. This is what breaks up households. This is what breaks up churches. This is what breaks up anything. Bonds, friendships. I don't trust you no more. Used to be my homie. Used to be my ace.
Now I want to smack the taste out your mouth.
It breaks friendships up. Breaks bonds. Breaks up teams. Can't trust you. Breaks up households. All because of what? It's the effects of what sin has left behind. Now a person got a wounded, broken spirit. They don't trust nobody. I'll believe half of what you say. I'll take what you say with a grain of salt. I'm hearing you. I know you're talking to me. I'm hearing you. But I don't believe you. I heard what you're saying. Sounds good. It's a good idea. I'll think about it. I might make a okay. I appreciate you extending yourself.
I've become an extra skeptic.
Yeah, I'm skeptical now. I appreciate you giving me advice. Appreciate the counsel.
I'm not going to follow.
But you know what? You may have a hidden agenda.
That's true.
This is the byproduct of what sin, the damage that sin does, and it leaves people in this state. People tell themselves, you know what? Since I broke up, or I'm not ever going to be in a relationship again.
It affects people for years.
Sometimes forever. This is how people become hermits. There's people that don't leave their house no more. There's people that are afraid to go outside.
Before COVID happened.
Before COVID. There's people already on house arrest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These people was already withdrawing themselves from society. Not because of a disease or a bacteria or a virus, but because of the damage that how they've been affected by other people or how they've affected themselves. There's a lot of people that psychologically don't have the strength to be around people anymore. I don't do well with crowds. I gotta be in a place. I gotta put my back against the wall. I'm paranoid. Now I'm living the rest of my life affected,
In defense mode.
damaged. And this is the byproduct of sin. This is the origin of depression.
And this is why Satan loves sin.
Right.
This is the perfect thing to destroy people.
Yep. It's their own mistakes. Because all Satan got to do is have you fall victim to your own flaws by operating in the flesh. And then now you can't. This is why he says this. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Because it, you know what? Go here. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 27.
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 27.
Proverbs 6:27. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yep.
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 27. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned?
Can you play with sin and get away with it? Can you play with negativity in your mind? Negative thoughts? Dwelling on negative thoughts? Harboring ill thoughts? And it doesn't affect you? Who can play with sin like a juggler juggles bowling pins? Who can play with sin like this?
I'm a sin manager.
Yeah,
I'm an expert sin manager.
sin doesn't affect me. I can dabble. I can play with depressive thoughts and it don't bother me.
Just a thought.
It's just a thought. I can dwell on not trusting people or how people are so evil, but it doesn't bother me because I didn't do nothing. But I can if you dwell on it. That's why Christ said if you just look unto a woman to lust, you've done what?
Adultery.
You could committed adultery where?
In your mind.
In your heart.
In your mind already. Because you can't just play with sin.
Come.
Nobody can play with negativity and be blameless. It's not set up that way. You will be affected by being negative. Whether it's you don't trust people no more, whether you don't believe in people no more, or you don't believe in yourself anymore. You don't even believe in who you are anymore. It's going to have some type of negative effect on you. He said, who can do what? Proverbs 6 and 27.
Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned?
And his clothes not be burned? You can't play with sin. Is that volatile? It's that evil. Read on.
Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned?
Take it. You see people running across hot coals. They burn because skin burns. They just tell themselves they don't feel it.
It's accepted.
It's accepted.
Oh, it burns. I accept it.
He said you can't play with sin. You can't give it no room or space within your life. Because the effects of sin is what you have to worry about. It's not the sin itself. It's the effects of it. Go ahead.
Ecclesiasticus 21 verse 2.
Hold on. We're going there.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Hold it.
Face
That's
the adder. Face the adder.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah. That's
Face
perfect.
that. What got better?
Yeah. No, it's perfect. It's perfect. But
Face adder.
where was you at in Hebrews chapter 10 verse 35, right? Read that again.
Hebrews 10:35.
Somebody read that. Hebrews 10 and No, we was at Proverbs 18.
6:27.
Yeah, 26 and 27. Let's read that.
26.
No, 6 and 27. Before that,
27. Count.
yeah.
Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned?
Go ahead.
So he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent.
It shall not be innocent. So he's saying that sin has an effect. That's what he's explaining. Sin always has an effect. It always has an effect, and you're never innocent when you touch sin. When you delve into sin or involve yourself in sin, which comes from the mind, it comes from the thoughts, you never escape innocent. Yes, sir.
Colossians 2:21.
Yes, sir.
And verse 22 also. Colossians chapter 2, verse 21. It says, touch not, taste not, handle not. So the point is, when it's talking about sin, I'm not supposed to touch it. I'm not supposed to taste it. I'm not even supposed to handle it, meaning play with the thought of it in my mind. I can't mess with it. I can't get a sample of sin. I can't do any of that. The question is why? Verse 21. Which all are to perish with the using. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how high up, how you're known, how unknown you are, how famous or infamous you are. It says, which all are to perish with the using. So if I touch, taste, or handle, or even play with it the slightest amount with sin, I'm going to what? Perish. That's what we're not supposed to do. That's it for that.
Okay, perfect. Because he's saying that you can't give sin an opportunity to be close to you. You can't give sin an opportunity. You can't play with negative thoughts. Go to Mark chapter 7, verse 20.
Cancel
Because we said it earlier, but we didn't read
Mark
it.
chapter 7, verse 20. Reads. Mark chapter 7, verse 20.
Start at verse 18.
18. And he said unto them, are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entereth into the man, it cannot defile him?
It's not the environment that the Most High put you in. Yes, the world is full of sin. The world is evil. But it doesn't have an effect on you until you do what? Read on.
Because it entereth not into his heart.
Because it can't influence you. You can only be influenced when what? You're drawn and enticed out of your own lust. It's when you play with something. It's not the people around you. It's not the people around you's fault. It's when you entertain negative. It's when you think about things that separate you from the Most High. Read on.
But into the belly, and goeth out into the drought, purging all meat.
Read on.
And he said, that which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man.
He says it's what comes out of you that defiles you. It's what you entertain. It's the thoughts that you have. These are the things that defile you. These are the things that corrupt you. These are the things that after you entertain these things, and these things have an effect on you, and you partake or you manifest these thoughts, then you're left with guilt. Then you're left with shame. You can't play with negative. You can't give negativity any opportunity to be amongst you, around you, or even your own mind to entertain it. Read on.
For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts.
It proceeds what?
Evil thoughts.
Evil thought. What comes out of a man's mind? Evil thoughts. It's what your mind produces. You have to protect your thought process. And if you entertain negative, it robs you of confidence in the Most High. It leaves you defiled. So then I can't see anything positive. Then it leads to action. It manifests itself. So even when I think about sin, playing with sin, sometimes we think we can control it. I can control it. I can handle it, man. I'm strong enough to be in this environment. I'm strong enough to be in this environment. I'm in a car full of smokers. You playing with fire. That's exactly what it is. I'm in a car full of smokers, but I'm telling myself they're just cool. They're just friends of mine. They don't mean no harm. That's not going to affect me. But I'm hanging out with them. Eventually, I'm going to say what? If I'm accepting it, if I'm amongst it, if I put myself in the midst of it, eventually I'm going to say what? One time ain't going to hurt. One time for the one time ain't going to hurt nothing. Everybody does it. What's the big deal? I don't see the big deal. Now, my fear of doing it starts to diminish because I allow myself to be around it. Yes, sir.
Ecclesiastes 13 and 17.
Read that.
It says, "What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb?
Go ahead.
So the sinner with the godly."
Break it down.
So, long story short, what it's asking is, what is so? Obviously, we know a wolf and a lamb, they don't have any dealings together. But what does the wolf do with the lamb? The wolf eats the lamb. They're not hanging out. They're not chilling. They're not doing none of that. So in this situation, you have wolves and you have lambs. We are supposed to be those unspotted lambs. The wolves are obviously the sinners. That's why it breaks it down in the next verse. It says right here. It says, "So the sinner with the godly." So I'm not supposed to be, if a wolf isn't supposed to be hanging around, and obviously isn't hanging around with lambs and etc., I shouldn't be hanging around people that are obviously doing wrong or doing wrong against the Most High. Simple.
That means I gotta pick my friends wisely. I gotta pick the people that I put myself around. I gotta choose the people that I put myself around to keep the right influence around me. I just can't be amongst people that have no fear of the Lord and not be affected by him. They're gonna have some type of effect.
A beast shall cleave to his life.
Right. So it's showing you that there is no relationship between the sinner and the godly.
That's scripture. Ecclesiasticus 6 and verse 17. Ecclesiasticus chapter 6 and verse 17.
I'll read it for you. Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, verse 17. It says, "Whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright. For as he is, so shall his neighbor be also."
If I'm really conscious of the Most High, I'm going to be careful who I put myself around. Because who I put myself around shows how much I fear the Lord.
Yep.
It's a reflection. The people around me is a reflection of my relationship with the Father. I'm with people that are set on negative. I know they're set on negative, and I just decide to be with that person, be around them. It's because I'm really secretly consenting to be around this negative. I accept this negative. David said, "I would not at all sit with the wicked." David said he would not sit with the wicked at all. But if I'm sitting here making the conscious choice to be around people that have my vices, have my weaknesses, or my past issues, and I'm going back to those old environments, old places, and those old relationships, it's because I secretly want to visit and revisit those sins. I'm lying to myself. But if I'm truly fearing the Lord, I'm going to direct my friendship what? All right. I'm going to pick the right friends, the right environments, the right places, the right people, the right places,
The right counselors.
the right counselors, the right situations. Because I'm making my friendship choices based off of my love for God. My love for God is the reflection of my relationships is my reflection of my love for God.
The people that I'm around.
God, if I go to a restaurant and I know, okay, all this pork's over here, and I know, hey man, you know what? If a little piece of pork goes in my meal, it's all right, man. I see it in the plate. You know what? Most High knows my heart. I'm gonna eat it. You know what? If I wasn't fighting and resisting, I'll make sure they put no pork in my food. I'll make sure this person right here is not smoking. I'll make sure this person right here has my best interests at hand. I should be making a diligent effort to direct my friendship the right way.
So what you're saying is, when I'm in this knowledge and this truth, what you're saying is, as I progress in this, the more I learn, I'm supposed to be making changes in who I hang out with then?
Absolutely.
So what you're saying is I have to get a new circle, if you will.
You have to.
Right.
Just asking.
You have to, because it says right here, as he is, so shall his neighbor be.
Make sure. Wanna make sure.
You said it perfect, God.
You know what? If I'm not careful, that circle will contaminate me. It's only a matter of time, and I can't play with the thoughts, and I can't play with the thoughts that they play with. You put it earlier when you talked about the sin affecting contaminating his neighbor. Right, contaminating the weak conscience. The sin will affect the weak conscience.
Come.
But you know, we're the ones through pride that tell ourselves that I can entertain negative and it has no effect. That's my pride. I can tell myself I can be around these particular people and they will have no effect on me. I can put myself in this environment and I can walk out unscathed. I can watch this on TV and it won't affect me or have me feeling a certain type of way or giving myself to something. You know, we're the ones through our pride that tells ourselves what the measurement is of what's right and what's wrong and what we can and cannot handle. You cannot control sin. Sin is not meant to be controlled. It's meant to be eschewed. Eschewed means to run from, to stay far from. You was going to pull it earlier. But if I understand the effect of sin, then I really will stay away from it. Because sin breeds guilt. Sin breeds shame. And shame is a disconnection from the Father. I don't have confidence in the
So,
Most
so
High.
that's the question.
Mhm.
So when Adam and Eve sinned, right? They
Mhm.
made that mistake, and then the serpent said, thou surely die." They might have thought they were going to physically die
Right.
when they ate that fruit or whatever. They took part in that sin, that negativity. They didn't physically die,
No, they didn't.
but they inherited a whole lot of shame. Well, they had to get that apron on.
They sewed fig leaves together.
They had to sew.
And you know, and because they knew that they were naked. But we know what that naked is. What is that nakedness of Adam and Eve once they contaminated themselves with sin? They wasn't covered by the Most High anymore. And that was
Not his refuge.
Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1, right? What does it say in Isaiah 31? Read that.
30 what?
30 Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 1. Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 1
Right.
reads, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord.
It says what?
Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord."
It says woe, destruction to the who?
Rebellious children,
Why? Read on.
saith the Lord,
Go ahead.
that take counsel, but not of me.
It says that they're listening to alternative advice. They're receiving information from alternative sources. The Most High says they're involving themselves and toying with certain knowledge. He said, but this is not my what? It's
Not
not
of
of
me.
It's not of me. This is not my advice. This is not my counsel. This is not my. This doesn't have. For me, it doesn't have your best interest at heart. You're putting yourself around situations that you enjoy that have nothing to do with me. You put yourself around people that have nothing to do with me. And he says, for that reason, he says, destruction to those children that do what?
Rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me.
They go seek alternative advice, or they go entertain other things as a source of pleasure, or as a source of happiness, or as a source of joy. They seek alternatives,
Yeah.
but it has nothing to do with the Most High. Read on.
And that cover with a cover.
A cover is a protection. It's a layer of protection. It's a covering. It's to keep you safe from the elements. It's to protect you like a coat, like a raincoat, keeps the rain off. Like a windbreaker keeps the wind from chafing your skin. It's a layer of protection. It's a layer of trust. It's a layer of trust that keeps you safe, but it has nothing to do with the Most High. He said that cover with the covering, go ahead,
But not of my spirit.
but not of my what?
Spirit.
So the Most High, the reason why Adam and Eve went and sewed those fig leaves together, because they were putting on an apron made out of fig leaves that had nothing to do symbolically with the Most High. They knew that the Most High was disconnected from them, and that the Most High's spirit wasn't covering them anymore. His righteousness wasn't covering them. They did that out of guilt. They did that out of shame, and that they even said it. He says, we knew that we were naked. Naked is just another word for being ashamed.
I'm unprotected.
I'm unprotected. I'm uncovered. So I'm going to go about and create my own covering.
And that's when we start making up new philosophies, remixing the truth, making new doctrines,
I'm trying to set a new standard.
new standards. New standards start popping up. Lower standards. New doctrines come out. Well, you know, it ain't really a sin on the Sabbath. That's just the old school.
Right.
People start making up new breakdowns, new ideas because they don't want to know. They don't want to obey the laws that was given in the beginning.
Right. But they wonder why now I'm left in the state that Adam and Eve was left in. I'm left now ashamed. I'm left now trying to put on something to protect me because I don't have the Most High protecting me.
And here's the funny part: leaf can't really protect you. Leaves can't protect you as a garment,
No.
like leather or something strong.
A hide.
Hide is something strong. So these philosophies that we take on to make us feel like we're not naked in front of people. So I can design this fake image in front of people.
Right.
This fake
Fake confidence.
fake confidence, fake smile, fake image. I'm a hologram. That's what I use as my justification. Shalom, man. This seems up. Yeah. That's my protection from feeling a certain way.
Right.
But when I go into detail, scriptural detail, when I use the scriptures as my protection, that can withstand any storm,
Yep.
in any situation. People can come against me. My family can come against me. My home people, my best friend, person I love can come against me. It don't matter. The scriptures will give you the confidence to weather that storm.
Exactly. Influences too.
God.
Right. Now go back to Proverbs chapter 18, verse 14.
Yeah.
Proverbs chapter 18, verse 14.
Read that.
It says, "The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity."
So what sustains our infirmities is our relationship with the Most High. How connected are we with the Father? How are we allowing the Most High to be our number one influence versus sin or lust or anything that the flesh does to us? Because we know the byproduct of sin is guilt. And I can't do anything with a guilty conscience. Because this is what Adam and Eve was left with. A guilty conscience. Read on.
But a wounded spirit.
And that's a wounded spirit. A guilty conscience is a wounded spirit. I'm full of sin. I'm full of shame. I'm naked. The Most High is not with me. The Most High doesn't love me. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me. That's a wounded spirit. How did I get that wounded spirit? I was disobedient. I was rebellious. This is how I adopted this wounded spirit. It was the sin that I entertained that caused me to be wounded. So how do I now solve this? How do I overcome the guilt of making mistakes or the shame that I'm left with when I do make a mistake?
Mm-hmm.
Proverbs chapter 17, verse 22.
Proverbs 17 and 22. A merry heart.
It says what?
A merry heart.
Go ahead.
Do good like medicine.
It says a merry heart does good like what?
Like a medicine.
Like a medicine. So how do I get my joy back? How do I get my joy back? Right. I got it. If a merry heart is like medicine, and if I'm left with guilt and shame, how do I get that joy back and that merriness back, that appreciation back, that the Most High is with me? How do I restore my confidence with the Heavenly Father? If sin has distracted me, taken me off course, if sin has played defense on me in my life like a linebacker and knocked me off my course, then how do I get back with the Most High? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, read. That's good.
Romans 14:22.
No, go ahead.
Romans 14
Yeah.
and 22.
Romans 14:22. So the question was asked. Yeah, okay. How? No, I'm with you, bro. How do I regain the happiness? Right.
Right. How do I regain the happiness from being disconnected from the Father through my sin?
Through my sin, I let sin strategize against me,
Right.
and I fell victim based on my own impulses.
Based on my own impulses,
And now
my own decision making.
I'm dejected, and I gotta come out the dejection to get right with the Father.
Right.
Romans 14:22.
Romans 14, verse 22. Hast thou faith?
Hast thou what?
Faith?
Word faith also means dependability. It means to be dependable. Read on.
Have it to thyself before the Most High.
So faith means dependability and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So that means my sincerity to the Father, my chastity with the Father was inconsistent. When I became inconsistent, I fell into the spirit of dejection, depression, self-hatred. Right? Then what's the answer? Retaining and going back to what? Consistency. Going back to dependability. Most High, okay, I know I can depend on him around these people or in this situation. He'll resist. I can depend on him to keep studying. I can depend on him to keep teaching. I can depend on him to keep extending himself.
Mm-hmm.
I can depend on him to keep doing spiritual acts. Right? He's going back to his foundation, which is Christ. Read on.
It says, happy is he
Happy is he
that condemneth not himself.
that does what?
Condemneth not himself.
Because condemning is a part of the spirit of quitting. Those spirits are related. I condemn myself because I don't want to fight anymore. So once I had to admit to myself, okay, I made the sin, I committed the sin. Now I had to stop condemning myself and go back to a dependable pattern, a consistent pattern. Read on.
it says, condemneth not himself in that thing which he allowed.
So read that point 2 more times. Happy is he?
Happy is he that condemneth not himself in that thing which he allowed.
Which he what?
Allowed.
Alloweth. I allowed myself to sin.
Mm-hmm.
The sin in me, I consented to that.
I gave into it.
I gave in, and you know what? Now I'm in the spirit. That's the consequence of sin: dejection, negativity, self-hatred. Then it gets down to suicide. The spirit of flirtation with suicide. That's the next. That's the further steps. And then hating people around me.
Worthlessness.
Worthlessness.
I have no value.
I had no value, loss of value, and then sometimes hatred of people that are good.
I'm a nobody.
God, those are spirits that. Remember, the Bible says when one spirit leaves a man, 7 more do what?
More vile.
7 spirits more vile. That's all those dejection spirits, those condemnation spirits. I gotta step out my condemnation and go back to a spiritual pattern that's consistent with God. I gotta go back to what works. Go back to spiritual acts, class, study, extending, working. I gotta get at least 5 days of no sin under my belt.
Right. There has to be some type of progress.
I
that I'm
gotta
making.
extend.
Right.
Because the condemnation is to make me just do it every day, and you know,
And I'm
what,
stuck.
What can I do? I can't stop sinning.
Right.
So I gotta at least, okay, can I go 1 day without sinning? Can I go 2 days without the same sin? Can I go 3 days? Can I extend my streak to 5 days? That's how you beat losing streaks in sports.
Progressively, yeah, overcome. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? I'm losing on the road, huh?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Can we at least win at home?
Can we win at home, huh?
Yeah. Let's focus on all the home games.
What do I have to do to get a longer streak of winning? And as you start to extend your streak of not sinning and resisting, you are going to start feeling what? Happy.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
That's something for you. You said, what was that? Didn't you last time you said, before you said you started feeling happy? You just said,
Condemnation, dejection, self-hatred, suicide. Those are spirits that a person that plays with and
you
entertains.
said, how do you get better or something?
How do I get better? How do I find my happiness again?
So how do you find your happiness? How to get it better is Luke chapter 4, verse 28. It says, for as it was your mind to go astray from the Most High. So as it was my mind initially to go sin, to go left, to go do that thing, do that dirt, right?
Okay.
I touched,
Taste
I
not.
handled it,
Mhm.
I played with that negative. What do I got to do now? It says, so being returned, so in order for me to make it back and for the Most High to try to deal with me again, it says, seek Him 10 times more.
Right.
So I have to seek the Most High 10 times more. Meaning I have to go to where I was at my best before I fell and went to the left and multiply that by 10. So if I was studying 2 times a day, that means I have to do what now? I got to study
20.
multiply by 10.
20 times.
20 times a day. If there was things I did if I came to class, say I came to class twice a day, that means what? I got to come to class now at every day or every opportunity. I have to involve myself around the body, around the scriptures as much as possible.
Right.
Why? So I won't make the same mistake. If I'm sincere, though.
God.
If I'm sincere, that's why it says, for as it was your mind to go astray, because no one else made my mind go astray. It was my own thoughts.
My own lust.
My own lust. That's how it says, entice to draw your own lust. It says, so being returned. If I really want that relationship back, if I really value anything between me and the Most High, seek Him 10 times more.
And go to Titus chapter 2, verse 7.
Titus chapter 2, verse 7. Whenever you're ready.
Somebody get it. Titus chapter 2, verse 1.
Titus
Got it?
chapter 2, verse, you said 1?
Verse 7. Titus
Verse
chapter 2,
7.
verse 7. Read that.
It says, in all things.
It says, now, obviously, after I've sinned, I made mistakes. And I'm trying to restore my relationship. I'm trying to get my confidence back in the Most High. Because I'm trying to get out of this depressive, dejected mind frame that I'm left with after I've entertained sin. And I've departed from the Most High. And the Most High has departed from me. And I can't do anything right in the eyes of the Most High. So now I'm depressed. Now I'm looking for happiness, but I can't find any. He says, now I'm returning myself 10 times more, right? Read on.
In all things.
It says, now in everything that I do, I have to do what?
Showing thyself a pattern.
I got to create a what?
A pattern.
You have to now create positive steps to change.
God.
You have to start taking steps and creating a new pattern instead of this is my pattern. I work Monday through Friday. Friday night I go out. I get drunk. I have a good time. You know, Saturday I party again. I feel bad.
Wow.
I feel guilty. This is what the people in the world do. This is what Israel does. I go to church on Sunday.
I feel better.
I feel a little bit better.
Even R. Kelly
Yeah.
did it. He said, I went to church this morning.
Yeah.
That's supposed to get away. Before he got exploded with his situation.
Right.
He used to be making mistakes. He would make a good song, make you feel good.
Make you feel good.
It's like, man, I feel bad. Instead of
yeah.
y'all condemn me, somebody pray for me.
Right.
Man, that song you dropped
I
out.
remember that.
And you know what? He had the right mindset. Okay, make somebody pray for me. But now you got to do work.
Yeah, you know what?
You can't just pray and not do work.
But after Sunday, Monday come, he doing what?
Fiesta.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
On Monday, he's trapped in the closet again.
Yeah,
Jump in
yeah.
the closet.
In the closet.
His whole discography was like the spirit of what we talking about.
Right. Hey, a lot of people, a lot of babies born in the 90s.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Half of
man.
Israel was born.
Half of Israel born on some R. Kelly tapes, bro. You know what I'm saying? He fed what was already in you. You know what I'm saying?
My body,
Yeah.
my mind's telling me no. He's the model. This is like
The motto of what the flesh said. Right? He just put it in song.
he just sung
He
it.
put it in rhythm. Right?
That's why people like this so much. That's why I like this
Come on,
guy.
he's speaking to you. Right?
You know what, man?
You
I
can
don't
feel
see
him, huh?
nothing. I don't see
Hey,
I don't see
hey,
nothing,
T-
bro.
TP2 out. Come on, man. Oh my goodness, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say some of the lyrics on that. You
Yeah,
know
he
what I'm
goes too hard on
saying?
TP2.
He goes too hard on TP2. He excelled in lust.
I was wicked during TP2. I was
TP2
I was in high school
a
going
banger.
crazy.
That
That song came out.
Yeah.
That album came out. I thought it was, he basically said it's okay.
It's okay, man.
It's okay.
To go into this level.
Yeah, you know, and we
To
have
indulge.
we have to get away from people that make you feel like it's okay to do certain things.
Right.
Because those people are encouragers. Those encouragers will have you. We're already negative. The encouragers make you double negative. You know.
Right.
You know.
You know what it does? It withdraws you from the fear of doing it.
Con.
You know what I'm saying? Because he makes it sound so fun, entertaining. And the way he puts it in words, man, it's smooth. Like, the beat goes right along with the lyrics.
Con.
Whoever his producers were, you know,
Master
excellent,
enchanters
man.
out.
Yeah.
And this is what Esau does.
Say again. He was a Pied Piper. Right?
Hey,
Yeah, true.
That's the goat with the little flute.
Yeah, exactly.
And can I say this one thing?
Pan.
On a national pan, definitely pan. On a national level, this is what television media does. This is what social media does. This is what all the presentations for the flesh. Their job is to make
What's that? My fans only page.
fans only. Like you know, if you're broke, all you gotta do, girl.
Yeah. you know.
He ain't gonna touch nobody.
Set you an account up.
Satan's the master of giving us options, like you said earlier. I like what you said. You talking about the creation of alternatives.
Yep.
These alternatives they're diversions from the Father,
Right.
and they keep us sick. And then when a person's sick, I can't get no. I'm not ever gonna get no better. I'm just gonna stay like this.
Yep. I see no hope. And this is why it says when you're restoring your relationship with the Most High, it's necessary that you do what?
Seek him to
No. You was
in
entitled.
all things showing thyself
Yes.
a pattern of good works.
It says showing yourself a pattern of what?
Of good works.
So now out of all the wrong that you were doing, it kept you depressed.
Yeah.
It kept you disconnected from the Most High.
God.
So now you have to create new patterns. You have to be more consistent in creating things that lead towards righteousness, that leads towards obedience, that leads towards humility, that leads towards studying. It says a pattern of what?
Of good works.
Go ahead. That's it.
Can I say one thing too?
Yeah.
Thing? It's not too much. But you know what people don't want to do either? People don't like when somebody checks them hard out. Because sometimes when somebody talks to you softly about the sin out, sometimes that's enough. If I feel really ashamed, the soft talk is good.
Yeah.
Sometimes we got the spirit of just, I want to be me.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to allow people that can harshly or can penetrate our mind and sharply correct us. That fear of correction is good for us.
That fear of correction is necessary for change. It's a motivator.
God.
It's a motivator. But the works that I do, this is what helps establish us to getting back on the right path. Obviously, I'm in a depressed state of mind because the sin that's affected me. This is what I'm left with when I involve myself with sin. How do I come out of it? I create new patterns. I put myself in new places. I choose new people. I'm changing my surroundings. Yes, sir.
And also you do this. Colossians chapter 2, verse 23. Which things have indeed a show of wisdom in will worship and humility and neglecting of the body. So as I'm growing and I'm developing these new patterns, right? These better patterns that are better for me. I'm eventually gaining the wisdom of how to what? Have will worship. Humility, I'm humble enough to deny myself. Well, it says it later on. It says, neglecting of the body. So anything carnal, I'm neglecting it.
Mhm.
Also, not in any honor to the satisfying of the flesh. Because when you get down to the bones of it, right? The barrel of it. What happens when you sin? What am I pleasing? My flesh.
Myself.
I'm not pleasing anything with the Most High. There's nothing spiritual getting done, but I'm sinning. So in the midst of doing that, I have to eventually, stop doing what I'm doing, and then learn how to have will worship out of will, be faithful, and not please my flesh anymore. That's how you do it.
Right. Great point. So then, if I'm restoring, it says in Proverbs 17:22, we read that. Proverbs 17:22. Proverbs 17:22. We just read it a minute ago.
Chapter 17, verse 22. Reads, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine.
So if I want the medicine of sin, because medicine is what heals or restores, right? So if I've contaminated myself and now my conscience is destroyed, my outlook is destroyed, my trust is destroyed. So what's the medicine to having a broken mind or a broken spirit? Because that's the problem. Sin leaves me broken. Matter of fact, read on real quick.
But a broken spirit drieth the bones.
It says, but a broken spirit does what?
Drieth the bones.
Drieth the bones. Your bone is your strength. That's your marrow. That's where you make new blood cells. Your bone marrow creates new red blood cells. That's where new blood cells are created when the old ones die. It keeps you refreshed. That's what refreshes you. When the old cells die, the new ones got to come from somewhere. That's why a lot of people that need bone marrow, they have certain cancers that require bone marrow transplant because their bodies can't create new cells. All the cells are mutated. So the body is constantly producing mutated cells. That's what sin does. It keeps mutating the person that you're supposed to be. That's why it's like a cancer. He said it dried the bones. You're not refreshed anymore. So the medicine is supposed to refresh you. So what is going to restore you if you've dabbled in sin half your life? What is going to restore you like medicine? Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 26, verse 2. 4, I'm sorry. Ecclesiastes chapter 26, verse 4. What is going to restore you?
Chapter 26 and verse 4.
He got it.
He got it, bro.
He got it.
You got it. With the
Ecclesiastes 26 and verse 4. Whether a man be rich or poor.
It says whether you be rich and you got it all, or you poor and you ain't got nothing. So it's showing you that it doesn't matter your state. It doesn't matter what state you're in. Whether you have plentiful or you have abundance in life, or you're lacking and you're living check to check and you're living meal to meal, week to week.
I'm behind.
You waiting for the first of the month.
God.
You waiting on Uncle Sam or somebody to give you something. Whatever it is. Loans. You know what I'm saying? Damn pawn shops. Payday loans. Title loans. Whatever your circumstance is. Read on.
Whether a man be rich or poor.
Read on.
If he have a good heart towards the Most High.
It says if he has a what?
Good heart towards the Most High.
So it doesn't matter the estate that you're personally in. It doesn't matter what you've been through or what you're going through. What you have to protect and what you have to nurture and what you have to make sure that you feed is what?
A good heart towards the Most High.
You got to keep a good heart towards the Father. You got to keep your fear of the Most High because that is your confidence. That is the thing that keeps you strong when sin has got the best of you. When you've become a victim of sin. Because when you fall victim to sin, that's why Paul said, it's not me that do it. He says, but it's the sin that's in me, that is in my flesh. He says, dwelleth in me no good thing. There's nothing good about me in the flesh. Although I may have the right mind, I keep falling to my flesh. So the way that you keep yourself protected and that you keep yourself safe from depression and problems and guilt and shame, you maintain a healthy relationship through the Father by keeping a good outlook. You have to keep a good outlook at the Most High. You can't blame the Most High for your problems. You can't blame you can't blame the people that the Most High put around you as the cause of your problems. You can't blame the circumstance that you're in. Why I'm poor. So I don't know how I'm going to look at the Most High. What am I going to pray for? Why should I be joyous? Why should I be happy? Why should I have fun? The Most High is keeping me poor. Who cares? If you protect your relationship with the Father, you can overcome all situations. Read on.
He shall at all times rejoice.
It says, and if I can keep a good, pure outlook towards the Most High and allow nothing, especially sin, to contaminate me,
Come.
to rob me of a good outlook, to rob me of happiness. He says, he shall what?
He shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance.
This person will always, every time you see this person, they're happy. Life didn't tear them up. They don't look beat down. They don't look like life chewed them up and spit them out. You know how people be young but looking old?
Come.
People in their 20s looking 40. People in their 40s looking 60. Life is just smacking them up, tearing them down. And you see that something, they're losing their battle. Oh, I'm a young man. I'm 17, but I'm sad all the time. The hell?
17 is sad.
17 is sad. 18 and depressed.
That emo energy.
Man, you on your strength.
Yep.
Yes, that emo. Yeah.
That's a real thing, bro.
Everything's dark. I wear black clothes. I paint my fingernails black. I wear black eyeshadow. Everything's dark. The music I listen to is black.
My gums. Are
My
black.
gums.
I hate that too.
You know what I'm saying? I'm 17 and I'm sad. And I'm just starting my life at 17, but I want to end my life. What the hell happened to you? What are you thinking about? What has gotten to you? What has gotten your mind going down that path? What went wrong? And what has stolen the best part of you? The joyous side of you. The fun side of you. The beautiful side. The life. What sucked the life out of you? Damn, you can't. You know what? If I don't have a good outlook of the Most High, it don't matter if I'm rich, I'm still sad.
That's a waste of riches.
That's a waste of wealth.
Wealth is supposed to help people, and you're supposed to have a good time.
Right. Yeah, but I still have abundance, and I'm still eating good every day. The Most High still got a roof over my head.
Come.
I'm surviving. My kids are happy, but I'm sad. Everybody's doing great but me. What's the problem? The problem is I didn't protect my relationship with the Most High.
Bad. That's the one thing I missed.
That's the one thing I missed. I didn't see it important enough to restore my relationship with the Most High, which is the medicine that we're reading about in Proverbs 17. That is the medicine. Read that again in Proverbs 17:22.
Proverbs chapter 17, verse 22. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine.
So what is my medicine? My medicine is in what you read, Kwam. Don't go far. Read it again at 26:4. Where is my medicine coming from? How am I going to get healed from my depression?
Whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart,
What's my medicine?
a good heart,
What's going to make me merry? What's going to keep my heart merry?
a good heart
Is keeping a good outlook to who?
toward the Most High.
I don't blame the Most High for my problems. I don't blame the Most High for putting me in this situation. I don't blame the Most High for making me 5'2".
Wish it was a little bit taller.
Wish it was a baller.
You got a problem with the Most High.
You got a problem with the Most High, bro. You're not accepting your condition. You know what I'm saying? When I was in high school, I was 4'11". I was a freshman. I was 4'11", 99 pounds. I had the short man complex. You know what I'm saying? I had a short man couple. That's why I was always fighting. I was always angry. Couldn't get out of that. I couldn't drink enough milk. I thought if I drink a gallon of milk a day, I would sprout up. Because milk's supposed to give you vitamin D,
Yeah.
vitamin C, supposed to make you grow. You know, I drank a gallon of milk on a regular, still didn't grow. A year later, I was 5'2", 107.
Came up.
Came up 2 inches. You know what? It's like, damn, why try? But you know what? If you have a negative outlook about why did the Most High make me this way? You know why He made you this way? He made you this way so that you can, regardless of your circumstance, overcome the situation and overcome your battles, your outlook, your negative outlook about it, and make the best of it. He put you in this situation to defeat the circumstance so that you can show someone else how to defeat that circumstance.
Not to be a victim of circumstance.
Right, I'm not a victim. He put you in a circumstance so that you know how to respond and help other people respond when they're short like you,
Yeah,
or when they're dark skinned, or they're too light. They're
To be accepted.
They're too light to be accepted.
They're too
They're
dark,
too dark to
around.
be white. They're too light to be black. Now they sit in the middle. Now I'm in the middle. I'm in middle hell.
That's the worst place.
Yeah,
Don't come over here. Don't you come over here.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now I don't fit in. Now I'm trying to fit in. I'm just gonna hang with the skaters. I'm just gonna go with the
Skated
skaters.
out,
The skaters will accept me. They're gonna accept. The skaters accept me. They accept everybody. Come with us. Yeah, come with us, man. Yeah, we won't judge you.
Don't judge me.
Yeah. So how I restore my perspective. That medicine that he's talking about in Proverbs 17:22, the medicine to overcoming sin is retaining a good outlook to the Most High.
Can I pull one scripture?
Yes, sir.
There's just a couple chapters in the same book. Proverbs 14, verse 14. Proverbs 14, verse 14.
Proverbs 14, verse 14.
Uh-huh.
Proverbs chapter 14, verse 14. The backslider in heart shall be filled with his own way.
So my emotional state is a product of my ways. So how do I get past my emotional state? I gotta let go of my ways.
Yep.
My ways got me here. My ways, my situation, the sin in me,
My outlook.
my outlook, it got me here. My outlook got me where I'm at right now. So if I keep backsliding hard, I'm gonna stay in my out. I'm gonna stay in this depression outlook or this dejected outlook.
Right. My countenance will always be fallen.
Kind of, it just like they say. Let's say like old people have like certain ones have a permanent certain face. They have that face their whole life out.
Yeah.
It's just
They got a permanent scowl.
kind of like Vietnam face
Right. They got.
forever.
You know what I'm saying? They face stuck like that.
God, it's stuck that way because that's the consistent theme of my thoughts.
Right.
Read the B point from the scripture.
And a good man shall be satisfied from himself.
So a good man to be satisfied from himself. I'm eating, I'm living off the relationship I built with the Father. My life and my world is based off the relationship I decided to build. I had to choose to build a strong connection with the Father. When I make that my priority and I build a stronger connection with the Father, I get better feelings, I get better emotions, I get better thoughts.
Absolutely. So go to James. Let that go and go to James. So what's that medicine? That medicine is my relationship with the Most High. This is how I overcome the damage that sin has done to me in my life by living in this world. This is how I overcome my depression, my sadness, my self-worth, my self-loathing. Now I feel like I have some type of value. I have some type of confidence about me now. I look at things on a positive level now. And there's hope now. There's hope for me. So how do I, to maintain this outlook, go to James chapter 4, verse 7.
James chapter 4, verse 7.
Let that go. I'm coming to it in a minute. Read that. James chapter 4, verse 7.
Submit yourselves, therefore, to the Most High.
And how do you get that medicine?
Submit yourself, therefore, to the Most High.
You know what? You accept that you don't know what you're doing in your life. You stop trying to make decisions for yourself. Because obviously your sins your sins or your decisions have led you to sin, operated out of lust. They were done out of your choosing. You made bad decisions because you were following your lust, or you're following your heart,
Come,
you're following your opinions or your feelings, and it got you contaminated
come.
and polluted. So now I'm trying to get out of that mind frame. So I get the medicine, which is the restoration of my relationship with the Father. That's what I care about now. That's what's important to me now. Building bonds with the Most High. And so now I submit myself to the Most High. And whatever the Most High has me going through. Read on.
It says, resist the devil.
And the devil is who? The devil is just you.
Yeah.
The devil is just you. It's what you want. It's how you feel. It's what you tell yourself. It's the thoughts that led you into the sin to begin with. Read on.
It says, and he will flee from you.
And he shall what?
Flee from you.
So if you deny yourself and restore your relationship with the Father, then being the victim of sin, being affected by sin, it disappears. Now you can make a consistent pattern of good works. Now you know how to please the Most High. Now I'm on a path of I'm making less and less and fewer mistakes. And as every positive step that I make towards a good decision, it has a good outcome. And the Most High accepts my decisions. And he blesses and acknowledges he acknowledges the change that I'm trying to make. Then me and him, I feel the bond of me and the Most High getting closer. I feel the Most High working with me. I feel the Most High using me. I feel like I have a purpose in my life. Now I don't feel so guilty. I don't feel such a shame. I don't feel like a loser.
That was the old me. I can say that with some confidence.
Right.
I'm like, that was the old. No, that's me now.
Right.
I can say I was the old me. That was me.
You know, we always tell each other, keep your head up. You hear that in the world all day long.
Con.
But then nobody tell you what that means. Nobody tells you, okay, they just tell you, hey man, keep your head up, man. It's gonna get better. That's about the best damn advice people give you in the world.
Con.
It's gonna be all right. But they don't tell you how to keep your head up. They don't tell you the steps that's necessary to retain your head up. They don't tell you how to restore confidence within yourself so you don't put your head down.
Con.
They don't tell you what it takes to make yourself better so you don't have to be sad all the damn time. Or everywhere you go, you look broke. You look broken down. Disinterested. Melancholy. No happiness, no joy, no stimulation. I'm just going through the motions of life. I just get up. I just go to work. I put on my shoes. I make sure I'm on time. I get my paycheck. I come back home. I watch TV. I just do the same old mundane routine every day. I'm not living life. I'm not enjoying life. I'm just going through it. Life is boring at that point.
Because I'm not conquering sin.
Because I'm still falling victim. Sin keeps besetting us. It keeps knocking me off the course. Then I got to get back on. Now I'm trying to make changes about myself, but I don't know where to start. The medicine or the healing of sin is starting back to restore your relationship with the Father. You need to care about that more than anything. That's the beginning of taking the medicine to healing, to overcoming sin and overcoming guilt or shame or depression. Restore that relationship with the Father. That should be priority. He says, submit yourself to the Most High, resist the devil, and he shall what?
And he will flee from you.
Now read what you brought up. You read Ecclesiastes 21:1, right? Go to Ecclesiastes chapter in the Apocrypha, chapter 21, verse 1.
Ecclesiastes chapter 21 and verse 1, right?
Mm-hmm. Read that.
Ready?
Yep.
Reads, my son, hast thou sinned?
He said, if you did make a mistake, because we all make mistakes. If you did knowingly or unknowingly giving yourself to sin, sin does have a negative repercussion. sin has a consequence. So you have to you can't control sin, you can't defeat it. There's one thing you have to do. Read on.
Do so no more.
He says you have to stay away from it. You have to distance yourself from sin. You have to disconnect yourself from sin. That's what's going to change your mind state. That's what's going to break that negative routine that you're stuck in, or that lack of happiness that you have. He says, do sin no more. Go ahead.
But ask pardon for thy former sin.
And he says, but ask the Most High to forgive you for your mistakes that you've previously made. And we'll get into that. But I want to focus on the next part. What does the next part say? Verse 2.
Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent.
Now, you pulled this earlier, right?
God.
Go ahead, because I know you was on it when you pulled it.
God. It says, read that point again. Flee.
Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent.
So if I'm fleeing from a snake, how can you flee from a snake if you don't see it? A snake does what? Doesn't a snake camouflage himself? He camouflages himself. He's under the bushes. He's trying to blend in. You have to have the ability to see the snake, or you're going to get bit, right? So for a person has the ability to flee, that means they have the ability to see first. You have to see what you're fleeing from. So I'm practicing the identification of when I get in the spirit of sinning. I would call it pre-sin.
Right.
I would call it, I'm trying to be serious. I'm not trying to make it a joke, but it says right before I sin, I know I'm in territory. There might be a snake here. There might be some weed here. There might be this this old relationship pop up that I know I have a weakness to. There might be a situation I can't control, and I'm in that territory. My spider senses should be tingling. I should be, you know what? I know it's Saturday night. I know I'm about to trip out. I'm going to the brother's house and go to study, man. I'm going to stay with the brothers, man. I'm going to give some strong spirits. I can't be alone. Yep. It's Saturday night. I should know the times when you're not going to sin at 4 o'clock.
You should know your patterns.
You're not going to be sitting at 4 o'clock. You're too busy. You're around these people out looking at you. You're not going to do it.
It usually is when nobody's watching, when you're alone.
I know I've been playing with anger. I know I haven't been checking my anger. Now my anger's on level 8. So now you're going to go from anger to indulgence. You're about to take the step. You know what? I'm angry. I'm mad. You know what? Hell with that. I'm finna do something for me. I gotta take care of me.
I'm finna go in.
What about me? Nobody gives a damn about me. I gotta give a damn about me. So what if I sin? I'm only human.
Self-medicate.
Self-medicate.
That I gotta know I'm in the territory of sin. I can't just wake up and get bit by a snake. So a person that has the ability to see, they're fleeing. I see this camouflaged beast that doesn't have my best interest. I'm gonna do what?
Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent.
As from the face of a what?
Serpent.
And Shawan brought out the class about that serpent. What's a serpent? Is it a snake? Are you running from snakes all day yet?
Nope.
What's that serpent?
Treacherous person.
It's a treacherous, deceitful person, right? Sometimes that person's who? Who's that person most of the time though? Us. So I start to lie to myself. I'm becoming I know if I'm lying to myself, I'm telling myself lies and it's all right and it's not that bad and everybody's out to get me.
I can control it.
I can control it. I know I'm lying to myself. You have to be 100% self-honest to know when you're about to sting yourself.
I know it's the Sabbath.
I know it's the Sabbath,
but I'm going to
man.
go anyway because I can control it.
I just got to get loose, man.
It say, be not deceived, God is not mine.
Right.
Kinda not. So the issue is, I know that when I start to be dishonest with myself, that is pre-sin. I'm being dishonest. I'm not praying as much. I'm not as conscious enough. If somebody calls your phone, you don't want to answer that phone call. You know, if you don't want to answer phone calls out, and it's righteous people calling you, you know you're about to be wicked out. Because you don't hear that guilty. Hey, what you up to?
You don't want to hear that correction.
I'm nowhere.
Yeah.
Where is nowhere?
Yeah.
I don't know a street named Nowhere. Where you at? When you can't report to people around you, people don't know your whereabouts. Quote unquote, we call it off the grid. When I can't report where I'm at, when I'm not accountable, like Shansha wanted to bring up, when I'm no longer accountable to people, I'm in the territory of what?
Sin.
Sin.
I'm close.
So I haven't done it yet, but I'm pre-sin. So if I'm really serious about my relationship with the Father, I'm going to flee from that state that allows me to be what? indulge into my flesh, my lust, my anger, my justification. Why me? What was me? This is how I get back to feeling good about myself.
Right.
Read on.
Hold on. Where you at? You in Ecclesiastes, right?
Yeah.
Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 10.
13.
13.
Oh, 13.
Mm-hmm.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 13 reads, "Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent?"
The Most High said what?
Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent?
What is the Most High saying? You were provoking sin, and sin got the best of you. You were entertaining sin, but you didn't flee from it. You didn't run from it. You put yourself in situations that you know make you weak, that you know get the best of you, that you know have the most influence on you. You deliberately put yourself in a weak circumstance where you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable to influence. You're vulnerable to peer pressure. You're vulnerable to people that think opposite of having a fear of the Most High. They don't even consider the Most High. But you put yourself in that arena, but you expect the Most High to have what? Pity. When you get what? When you get bit. Now, when I fall victim to sin, the Most High, that pity is also relegated based upon, if you knew better, why didn't you distance yourself? Because the Most High said what? Who shall pity who?
A snake.
You entertain the snake. You entertain the negativity. You didn't run from it when you knew you had the opportunity. You didn't shut it off fast enough.
You had a period of time. He made a way to escape.
You had an opportunity to say no. Now you know what? Now you find yourself heavy into something that you can't escape from. Then you ask yourself, well, how did I get involved in this? How did I get myself in this situation? Well, you didn't run from it or reject it. You didn't resist the devil and flee. The devil's supposed to flee if you resist. You didn't resist it.
Yeah.
See, we play with negative too much. We play with sin too much. And when you toy with sin or negativity, you knew that me thinking about brothers in a negative fashion is only going to lead to something more negative. But I didn't want to change my outlook. I didn't want to trust. And I don't want to believe. And I want to be negative. And I want to be mad. Because you know what? Everybody, the scriptures say, be angry, but what? Sin not. But you know what? The scripture also says, anger rests in the bosom of who?
Fools.
A fool. You know, you're a fool to be angry. Yeah, it says be angry, but sin not. So yeah, you're human, so you have an emotion. So you have the ability to be angry. But you know what? You also, if you hold on to that anger, you're looked at as a fool too. So don't hold on to it too long. But we'll hold on to negative for a long period of time. We'll keep looking at people negative for a long period of time. We're entertaining the sin. So now, when I act out my sin and I'm guilty from it, or it caused damage, or now there's harm done, and now there's something broken, now bonds are broken, friendships are broken, now I want the Most High to have pity on me. Now I want the Most High to forgive me. But he said, who gonna pity or what?
Snake charmer.
Read on.
Or any such as come nigh wild beasts.
Or any such that come down what? Wild beasts. You know what the wild beasts are? The wild beasts are the people you used to be. The person you used to be. The people you used to hang around. The people that's untrained, undisciplined. You think you can, that's why the scripture said no man can serve two masters. For either he will love the one and despise the other, or cleave to one and hate the other. You can't serve two masters. Either you're going to be right with the Most High and care about your relationship with him, or you're going to entertain other things and it's going to be to your detriment and your downfall. And go back to Ecclesiastes 21 verse 2.
Ecclesiastes chapter 21 and verse 2. Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent.
And that's why Dawiyah said, you see the face, you should have known the environment. You should have known what you're weak to. You got to have a knowledge of what influences you.
Just a little baby in the woods. You don't know nothing. Just innocent walking around.
Right.
Read on.
For if thou comest too near it,
If I come too near it, meaning that it's way over there. It's Friday. It's Saturday. Or it's way across town. But you know what? I found myself going to HEB right next to it.
It's just a birthday party.
I'm right next to the people that used to have me tripping like crazy. I'm gonna go hang out. I'm not gonna talk to them, be around them.
Right.
I was in the area.
I was just in there. I was just cruising through.
You know, it was a 10-year-old birthday party. I don't see the problem.
Oh,
But you know what adults do.
I gotta be there.
You know what adults do in the world? They throw 10-year-old parties, and the party lasts for about an hour and a half. After the pinata busts, then the adults take over the party all damn night. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even about the damn kids' party no more. It's keep the drinks going. How'd it go from down sun-kissed Kool-Aid pouches with straws to damn 24-ounce tall Bud Lights and Budweisers and 40 ounces?
Hold it.
And the kids, hey, y'all go to bed, man. Well,
Y'all party's over.
It's my birthday. Yeah,
Again.
you know, in the world, that's what they do. But you know, but we'll use an excuse. It's just this. It's
That's
just
true.
innocent fun.
That's true.
We're just having a good time. I don't see nothing wrong with it. We play with negative, and because of that is why the Most High won't have any pity when you're bitten by it or you fall by it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, on the same note of what you're talking about, we don't say in Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 10. My son, meddle not with many matters.
Go ahead.
For if thou meddle much,
Man.
thou shalt not be innocent.
He said, you keep playing with negative. He says, you will not be what?
Innocent.
You keep playing with feelings and emotions and thoughts. If you don't clean up your thoughts, if you don't control your thoughts, if you start entertaining negativity, he says, you meddle much, you shall not be innocent. Go ahead.
It says, and if thou follow after,
Wow.
thou shalt not obtain. So what he's saying is that thing that you're going left for, that you're
Mhm.
trying to get, whether it's this woman, this job, opportunity, whatever it is, it says you're not going to obtain it, bro.
Ariana, funny.
Look at this
Yeah,
crazy.
you got a kid, got a kid's party.
Yeah. Brian don't have no
God,
cat.
God,
Yeah. But it says, if thou follow after, thou shalt not obtain. Neither shalt thou escape by fleeing. So
Wow.
I'm not going to get that thing that I just put all this effort and wasted time into.
God.
And then once I get stung, because, you know, what Marwell said, be not deceived.
God is not mine.
What happens? Whatever man soweth, that he shall also reap. That's Galatians 6 and 7. We're not going to go there. But if I'm doing negative, I'm going to get that negative. And it says what? Neither shalt thou escape by fleeing. So when the Most High, when it's time to sting me and for me to pay the consequence of whatever that negative was, I won't be able to escape it. I won't be able to hide. There's nothing I'll be able to do. I can't just go in the other room and everything's okay. No, you're going to have to deal with that.
There's consequences.
You're going to have to get that.
Legitimate
And,
consequences.
and you know what? And this is why Adam and Eve couldn't hide, and that's what they were trying to do in the garden. This is why when the Most High called, he said, "Adam, where art thou?" He said, "I was afraid." Why was you afraid? Because I was naked. Who told you you was naked? Have you
Exactly.
eaten? Have you eaten of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? He told on himself. Because no matter what you do now, you're now contaminated. Your relationship is scarred now. The Most High can't trust you now. The Most High can't trust you no more.
I'm sorry, if you laterally, on the same note of what you're talking about, verse 9, it says in that what you just said.
Can I say it louder?
In the matter of what you just said, we're going to later read verse 9 in Ecclesiastes 11. It says, strive not in a matter that concerneth thee not. So with that whole apple thing, the Adam and Eve thing, was Adam and Eve supposed to be partaking in the fruit, the tree of knowledge?
Nope.
No. But it says right here, it says, strive not in a matter that concerneth thee not, and sit not in the judgment with sinners.
Wow. So sitting with judgment with sinners means I'm looking at things in judging situations. I'm looking at the way they look at it.
Right.
I'm justifying
me
myself.
And, me and sinners share the same outlook,
Got the same opinion.
same goals, same lust. We got the same enticement. The same things that entice them entice me. We like the same things.
They're the only people that understand me. I go
Right.
around Israel, nobody understand me.
Yeah, they don't understand me.
My people, they at least they
but,
understand
my
me.
homies do.
Y'all don't understand me.
Right. So he's showing you how to stay clean, how to keep your mind clean. Read Ecclesiastes 21 and 3.
All right, can you read the rest of two?
Yeah, go ahead.
Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent, for if thou comest to near it,
I'm
Too near it.
Too near it.
too near it,
Read on.
it will bite thee.
The closer I get, the longer I play, the longer I entangle, the longer I flirt, the longer I entertain sin. There's gonna be a consequence. I'm gonna follow through. Read on.
The teeth thereof are as the teeth of a lion.
God describes sin as a creature that devours you with the teeth of a lion. It's gonna rip you up.
Yep.
It's gonna destroy something. It's gonna violently destroy your connection with God or the person you're sinning against. Read on.
Slain the souls of men.
So he uses it as a lion that does what?
Slain the souls of men.
And you know how what deceives us with sin, because sometimes we get around things that are harmful for us in our thought process in our environment, and nothing happens. Nothing happens the first time.
It's a mercy.
Nothing happens the second time. So then by the third time that we play with these ideas and thoughts and we don't see a repercussion, we automatically assume I'm in the clear. We automatically assume, okay, you know what? I'm smooth. I'm a smooth criminal. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm MJ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now I can get away with
Nobody knows.
I can get away, or I can be in this environment and be untouched and be unbitten or not be influenced. Now I think I'm smarter than the circumstance. And the Most High said that's not true. But that's what deceives us, is the fact that we do things, entertain things, think things, participate in things that are no good for us, but nothing happens. So we think we're good. We're okay. There's nothing wrong with this. That's such an immature thought process, but the Most High is watching the whole time. Go to Psalms chapter 50. And start at verse 20.
Psalm chapter 50.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 20. 50 and 20.
Start at verse 16. Psalms chapter 50, verse 16.
Psalms 50, in verse 16. But unto the wicked the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statute?
You're a double agent. That's how the Most High look at us. You play with sin, but you act like you're on my side. You entertain sin, but you act like you're with me. You speak in the Bible, but you doing things that's wrong, and you entertaining thoughts that are wrong. What are you? That's a double agent.
Come.
Read on. He said, "Why are you using my words, when obviously your lifestyle don't reflect it. Neither does your mouth or your mind reflect it.
Your thoughts don't even reflect.
Your thoughts don't reflect it." Read on.
Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth.
Now you want to be righteous, but yet you entertain sin. You play with sin like a snake charmer. Read on.
Seeing thou hatest instruction,
And the root of it is you don't want to follow. To hate instruction means to be obedient, to be told or to be led and to be instructed and guided on what to do.
That's following instruction.
You don't like anybody to tell you what to do. You like to have your own opinion. You like to carry your own thought process. You have your own definition of what's right and what's wrong.
That's the root.
Read on.
and casteth my words behind thee.
And you don't keep my words. You don't run from evil. You don't care about the relationship in our bond. You don't fear me. Read on.
When thou sawest a thief,
Because you was hanging with thieves. Go ahead.
then thou consentest with them.
You know what? Maybe you didn't steal, but you was with the thieves. So you're in your mind, I didn't steal,
I'm an accomplice.
but I was with them though. I'm with people that do wrong, but I didn't do it myself. So we think we're justified. The Most High is okay with that. Read on.
And hast been partaker with adulterers.
And I'm with the people that commit adultery, but I didn't commit adultery.
That wasn't me.
It wasn't me. I didn't do it. They were doing it, but I didn't do it. I'm not guilty, but I'm with them though.
We just cool.
We're just friends. Read on.
Thou givest thy mouth to evil.
And you talking all kind of, you talking out the side of your face when it comes to about being in order. You don't know how to follow. You don't know how to receive instruction. You don't obey. You don't listen. your mouth and your mind's negative. Read on.
And thy tongue frameth deceit.
And you be lying. You don't be telling the truth. But because you've been around thieves and nothing happened, because you've been around adulterers and nothing happened, because you entertain negative and your mouth has been framing deceit and nothing happened. So I think I'm good. I think I'm okay. The Most High is with me. Read on.
Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother.
Go ahead. But I got something to say negative to who?
My brother.
So I'm entertaining negative when I'm looking at my brother. I don't have the best thought process when I look at people. Read on.
Thou slanderest thine own mother's son.
Read on.
These things hast thou done.
He says, you do all these things, rolling with the wrong crew, hanging with adulterers, hanging with thieves, having an opinion in your mind that's negative. You're looking at people sideways.
Framing deceit.
You frame deceit. You don't tell the truth. He said, all these things you do. Read on.
And I kept silence.
And the Most High didn't check you for it. The Most High didn't smash you for it. There was no repercussion to your actions. So we think that we're in the clear. But what does the Most High say about this? Read on.
Thou thoughtest.
Yep.
He says, you what?
Thoughtest.
You thoughtest by playing with sin. Go ahead.
That I was altogether such and one as thyself.
You thought me and you was on the same page. You thought me and you was tight. You thought we were together.
Yeah.
You thought me and you were in cahoots with one another.
Had the same opinion.
We thought we had the same opinion.
God.
But the Most High said what?
But I will reprove thee.
The Most High said, no, think again. I was just laying in the cut. That's what the Most High is saying. I was just laying in the cut, seeing what you was going to do. I was watching you the whole time. And you was playing with fire. You was charming serpents. You was toying with beasts. And I was just watching you. But because the Most High don't sting you right away, we think the Most High is in agreement with our actions and our thoughts. But he said what? But I kept silent. Go ahead.
But I will reprove thee.
He said, but the Most High said, I'm going to check you. He said, but I'm going to check you not when you're ready, not when you're prepared. I'm going to let you go along thinking that you're right in your opinion, in your actions, in your judgment, in your behavior. I'm going to let you go a little while. Because we know the scripture does say, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore it's fully set in the heart of men to continually do evil.
So,
Right?
so,
8 and 11.
so,
right.
so the Most High is going to see how long will a person persist.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you have to be aware of your own.
He'll let you go for a little while.
Yeah, you don't smell yourself. You
Right.
don't see yourself. You don't judge yourself.
Right.
That's mercy in itself.
Finish that.
But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes.
He said, but I'm gonna check you in front of everybody. I'm gonna let everybody see that you was in the wrong. I'm gonna let everybody see that you've been holding on and harboring this negativity towards your brother. And you've been hanging with the wrong people. You've been influenced the wrong ways. And I've just been waiting for the opportunity to show you that you was off. Read on.
Now consider this.
He says, now think about what you're doing. Go ahead.
Ye that forget the Most High.
It says the reason why you operate like this without fear of consequence is because you really forgot about who?
The Most High.
He says, so think about this and what I'm telling you. I may remain silent, but that don't mean I'm not going to check you for what you do. The Most High don't smash people right away. He lets them go for a little while. Read on.
Lest I tear you in pieces.
And the Most High said in the end, if you don't listen, if you don't heed this instruction, the Most High said, I'm going to do what?
Tear thee in pieces.
The Most High said, I'm going to tear thee in pieces. I know you're holding something. I know you're holding something. But I want to get back to this. This is why it's so critical that when we're amongst sin, when we involve ourselves with sin, when we harbor sinful thoughts, you got to be careful with that.
They attract sinners.
You got to be careful with that.
Come.
1 Peter chapter 3 verse 11.
It's a razor right there.
1 Peter chapter 3 verse 11. Yeah, whoever got it.
1 Peter chapter 3, verse 11. Read. Let him eschew evil.
It says that's why it's so important that you do what?
Eschew
The
evil.
definition of the word eschew means to flee from or to avoid. You got to do the best you can to avoid anything evil. You got to stay away from evil people. You got to stay away from evil thoughts. If you have a negative thought, you have to change that thought immediately. You can't entertain anything negative. Read on.
And do good.
And do what?
And do good.
Read on.
Let him seek peace
Go ahead.
and ensue it.
And chase after peace. You got to start looking for peace. You got to start looking to be at peace with people. You can't hold on to negativity and negative thoughts towards people. You got to start looking for peace. Because if you establish peace, the Most High will establish peace with you. So there's a process to overcoming guilt. There's a process of overcoming shame. But a lot has to change. And this is why sin is so deceitful. Because we think we can play with it. We think we can entertain it. We think we can control it. But you can't. You think you can walk around with negative thoughts and it has no effect on you? You're lying to yourself. You think you can hold on to anger and be justified in the eyes of the Most High? The scripture says, wrath worketh not the what? The righteousness of the Most High. You can't operate righteously while holding on to wrath, harboring negative thoughts. So there's a process to this. There's a even when Christ was teaching his disciples, he even told them, don't be boasting about the fact that you got power over demons, because that's what we like to do.
Yeah.
We like to boast about how strong we are.
So it's powerful.
I'm strong enough. I can be in this environment, and I won't drink. I can be around 1,000 blunts, and I won't smoke. I can be around 1,000 thieves, and I won't steal.
I'm a mighty man.
I'm a mighty man. They follow me. I don't follow them. Christ said, man, listen, you got to change how you look. Matter of fact, go there. Go to Luke chapter 10, verse 17. Go to Luke chapter 10, verse 17. You're not supposed to boast in the fact that you got negative under control. You're lying to yourself.
It's temporarily.
Even if you do have some type of negative under control, just be happy you can control yourself. Don't even look at the abilities that the Most High give you, and you gotta be conscious of that. Read that real quick. Luke chapter 10, verse 17.
Luke chapter 10, verse 17.
Because everybody thinks they can control evil. I can play with evil. I can entertain it.
Snake charmers. Huh?
I can entertain
charmers,
it,
huh?
and I won't be affected. Everybody believes that. Read this.
Luke chapter 10, verse 17. And the 70 returned again with joy,
Go ahead. And the 70 disciples of Christ returned back with joy. Go ahead.
saying, Lord, even the devils are subject unto us.
They were bragging. They was boasting. The part of that joy was, you know what? We got these demons under control, man. I'm flexing my demonic power fist.
Yeah. Come here, lust.
Yeah. I got you under control. I got all spirits under control.
Not really. Bro.
He said even the devils do what?
Are subject unto us.
Man, even the devils follow me. Man, listen, that's not something to boast yourself about. Even if you do have some type of control over yourself and your own negative mind, you shouldn't be bragging about it. What did Christ tell him?
It says through thy name. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning.
He said, man, I'm the one that beheld Satan as lightning. Go ahead.
fall from heaven.
He said, just as much as you could see lightning fall from heaven, he said, I stood face to face with Satan. Because that's what Christ did. He stood face to face with the chief damn demon. The spiritual demon, Satan himself.
The entity, yeah.
The entity. the spiritual entity. He said, I stood face to face with Satan. In Luke chapter 4, we remember that. When he was on the mountain, when he started his ministry. Read on.
Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents.
He says, because I stood face to face with Satan, I give you power to tread upon who?
Serpents.
I give you the power to tread upon serpents. So yes, Christ is acknowledging, I've given you some type of control. But the control that I give you is not to be boasting about.
Abuse that.
Or to flirt with. Read on.
Serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy.
Go ahead.
And nothing shall by any means hurt you.
And they said, and because of me, and I'm distributing this power to you, you ain't got to worry about nothing hurting you. But read on.
Notwithstanding,
He said, but although I've given you this power, although you've gotten this ability, you can crush demons and put spirits into subjection. Read on.
notwithstanding in this, rejoice not.
He says, but even though I've given you this power, don't do what?
Rejoice not.
Don't be bragging about it. Don't be just because the Most High gave you a strong constitution, because you've been reading the Bible for a certain amount of time, that now you got all the ability now to control all spirits. Now you all powerful now. He said, rejoice not. You got to still be cautious. You still have to be careful. He was still putting that pride under control and under submission. That although you have this newfound power, don't look at it like that. But do what?
It says, rejoice not that the spirits are subject unto you.
He says, rejoice not that the spirits are subject unto you. Go ahead.
But rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven.
He says, but rejoice because you're pleasing the Most High. And the Most High is watching you. This ain't got nothing to do with your image and your control and what you think you have power over. Just be happy that you're able to please the Most High. That's how you should look at situations. It ain't about you. It's not about the power you possess. But can you please the Most High? That should be the focus. Do you see how Christ had to redirect his disciples' mind frame? This is about you being right with the Most High. It ain't about you being around, being able to control demons. Just make sure you're right with the Most High. This ain't about you flexing spiritual muscle. This is about you being right with the Father. Just be happy about that. That should be important to you. But we flirt with danger because we think we somebody.
I gotta switch your help.
Go ahead. Perfect.
Proverbs 25 verse 15. Proverbs 25 verse 15.
Proverbs chapter 25, verse 15.
Well, verse 14, really.
Verse
Then
14.
15.
Reads, whoso boasteth himself of a false gift is like clouds and wind without rain.
So I'm this gift, this power, this so-called discipline I have over my spirit to be around demons, to be around negativity, and not get bit and not get affected. That's like a cloud without rain. I'm really fooling myself. This cloud, you thought it's gonna rain? It didn't rain. It's a cloud without rain. It fooled you. So me having this delusion in my mind that I'm this strong person, I could be around this. That. Right. Hold 1 second. Let me go ahead and how do I do this right here?
Once
Hey.
somebody's talking.
Hey, sister. Hey.
Hey, sis.
I did, but I don't know how to do that. How you
Hey,
take that off?
sis, we can hear your whole conversation.
Let's
Hold
see
on,
right here.
I got it.
We got it.
I got it.
On the more.
Yeah.
There you
All
go.
right,
All right.
awesome.
So
I'm
go
gonna get back to it real quick. We'll read the scripture again.
Whoso boasteth himself of a false gift
Whoso
is,
boasteth himself of a false gift. That false gift is me having this delusion that I'm on a level. It's the I'm on a level mindset. I'm on a level.
I can control
I'm
sin.
so strong. It's been a long time since I made a mistake. I haven't slipped in a long. It's been a minute, homie. It's been a minute. Right? We on?
is like clouds and wind without rain.
It's not going to benefit you. Rain benefits. There's no benefit in that delusion. Read on.
By long forbearing,
But it's the most important part. By long what?
forbearing.
See, sometimes you don't make a mistake for a long period of time because I'm resisting, but I'm still flirting with the temptation, but it's still there. By long forbearing, what happens? Which we're trying to meet. It keeps going. Yeah.
Go ahead.
But
Is a prince persuaded?
it says what?
Is a prince persuaded?
By long forbearance is a prince persuaded. Meaning the prince is a person of authority. It's a person that's in a strong position. They might not fall in the beginning, but in the process of waiting and longing and desiring and flirting and
Okay, we should be back on.
we should be
Go
back
ahead.
on. It's
Okay,
still
go
there.
ahead. Go ahead. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Are we good? Read that point again, verse 15 again.
By long forbearing.
Long forbearing. What is forbearing? Waiting a long time, resisting for a long period of time. Read.
Is a prince persuaded?
So a person, when they sin, they're getting what?
Persuaded.
Persuaded. It's like a woman. She might not feel you in the beginning, but you keep talking to her, you keep macking over
Chipping
time.
away.
You keep chipping away, chip, chopping that tree down little by little. It might take a while, but eventually you're gonna get what you want, right?
Got it.
Right? If I'm the spirit trying to persuade over time, I'm gonna get what I want because this spirit's gonna break over time. It's like a woman breaks over time. Men break over time. Spiritual people break over time. Why? Read on.
And a soft tongue breaketh the bone.
So you can have an obvious situation come at you, an obvious temptation. The devil with the red fork, red with a little tail on him. He pops up in your room. You should do this. That's the obvious temptation. But what we're not conscious of is the subtle temptation that gets you over months and years. That's what men ain't conscious of. While you're here flexing how strong you are on the obvious negative, you're not conscious of the danger of that little whispering voice in your ear. It says the soft tongue breaks the bones. It's the quiet, silent voice in the back of your head that you haven't dealt with and identified, you haven't solved, that's going to break your spirit. It's not the obvious negative. It's not the obvious party. It's not the obvious situation. We're looking for the obvious. Satan deals in subtlety.
Right.
He was more subtle than any beast of the field. So while you're focused on just the smoking, he's dealing with your deceitful thoughts. That your ability to always encourage yourself to be deceitful and your ability to self-medicate and really self-justify and twist scriptures in your head and say that you're right. Well, it does say, like you brought up, it says be angry, but sin not. Listen, bro, the Bible does say that, but there's a spirit to being angry. The Bible also says, strive not, that worketh not the righteousness of the Lord. You just brought that out, right?
Yeah. It said
So the servant of the Lord must not strive.
it says not strive, but it also says that it says wrath, which is actions motivated out of anger.
Come on.
He says, work it not the righteousness of the Most High.
So that spirit of being angry, I never dealt with it. I never confronted it. I just dealt with the smoking or the drinking or the negative people. I never really confronted that my actions are motivated out of my anger.
Right.
So it's the soft tongue. It's that background voice. It's that subtle whisper that you're not addressing. It's gonna break your bones.
I like what you're saying. Y'all want to read this real quick? I like what you're saying because what you're saying is that you don't allow nothing to chip away at your faith and your relationship with the Most High. Read. Let me see it. Start at verse. This is page 184 to Josephus, book 7, chapter 2. Start at paragraph 7, right here. No, just read it. Don't worry about it.
It's cool.
Don't
It's
worry
cool.
about it.
It's all
bro.
good.
Just read it. This is paragraph. Start right here. So they came to Hebron. This is when the servants of Saul's son was Ishbosheth. Paragraph 2. Start right here when it says.
Okay.
So they came to Hebron. Right. So this is when the sons of Ishbosheth, this is when the servants of Ishbosheth, which is Saul's son, they killed him, and they because there was a transition of power happening, and so they thought that if they killed David's enemy, which was Saul's son, that they would get a reward. So this is page 184. Go ahead and read this.
Antiquities of the Jews, chapter 2, last of 749.
Yeah.
So they came to Hebron and showed David the head of Ishbosheth
Ishbosheth. They cut his head off, and they thought they was gonna get rewarded. Read on.
and presented themselves to him as his well-wishers.
These things, people think that you know what? I'm gonna do an evil deed, but because I'm doing it to gain this person's favor, that this person's gonna look at my deed as positive. Read on.
It says, and such as had killed one that was his enemy and antagonist.
They thought they were doing David a favor. Read on.
Yet David did not relish what they had done as they expected.
He said the outcome was different. They thought he was gonna be like, yeah, man, I got victory over my enemies. Didn't we just read that earlier when he felt bad about cutting even the garment of Saul's garment off, a piece of Saul's garment? Did he feel guilty about that? How much more should he feel guilty about cutting the head off of Saul's son? Read on.
But said unto them, you vile wretches.
He says, you know what? You thought you vile wretch, or call somebody a wretch is really a bad word. It's really calling somebody a mother effer, if you want to put it in modern day text. You vile wretch. You ain't no good. You know, no good scoundrel. Low down dirty dog. You sorry mother, Samuel L. Jackson. Read on.
It says, you shall immediately receive the punishment you deserve.
Immediately.
Immediately. Read on.
Did not you know what vengeance I executed on him that murdered Saul,
Which was the Amalekite. Read on.
and brought me the crown of gold? And this, while he who had made the slaughter of this slaughter did it as a favor to him.
He did Saul. He was doing Saul a favor. But y'all still remember what I did to that Amalekite. Read on.
That he might not be caught by his enemies? Or do you imagine that I,
Now this is the other part. This is the part I want to focus on. David is telling these individuals that thought that was doing negative deeds. He said, you brought this to me, this man's head to me. He says, do you imagine what?
or do you imagine that I am altered in my disposition?
He says, do you think my heart towards the Lord has changed? He said, this is what he's asking him. He said, do you think I'm altered in my disposition? If righteous men eschewed evil when they were younger, then they should also eschew evil when what? When they're older. You shouldn't change. If you're about righteousness, then you need to stay and remain about righteousness.
God.
He said, do you imagine in your mind that I've changed my disposition? That I no longer have the fear of the Lord? That I no longer have the respect of the Most High? Do you think that this action is supposed to make me happy? Read on.
And suppose that I am not the same man, the man I then was?
He says, do you suppose that I'm not the same man I was when I was younger? So what he's saying is, listen, I haven't changed. I still fear the Most High. I still have more honor to the Most High and making sure I'm right by him than even getting vengeance over my enemies. It's not about me. It's about doing the pleasure of the Father. Ain't got nothing to do with me getting vengeance. He said, do you think anything has changed in that? Read on.
But am pleased with men that are wicked doers?
He said, and now all of a sudden I'm supposed to be happy with men that are what?
Wicked doers?
So obviously David was never good with people that was wicked doers. He was never friends with people that was wicked doers. He was never okay with people that was wicked doers. When he was younger, when he wasn't king, and that didn't change when he became king. That didn't change either. He didn't change. He wasn't okay with negative then. He wasn't okay with negative now. His mind never changed. He didn't flirt with negativity. He didn't play with negativity. Read on.
And esteem your vile actions when you are become murderers of your master, as grateful to me when you have slain a righteous man upon his bed, who never did evil to anybody, and treated you with great goodwill and respect.
Read on.
Wherefore you shall suffer the punishment due on his account,
Go ahead.
and the vengeance I ought to inflict upon you for killing Ishbosheth, and for supposing that I should take his death kindly at your hands.
And supposing that I would take his death kindly at your hands. David never changed his mind. If it was wrong when he wasn't king, he wasn't consorting with evil people. He wasn't consorting or in agreement with the wicked. Before he was king or when he was king. He said, my disposition didn't change. It wasn't okay for me then. It ain't okay for me now. Everybody has to get to that mind frame. where if you're doing wickedness, I'm not okay with you. If you're about wickedness, then you're not about me. And you're not about what I'm about. And we're not on the same page. Everybody has to get to that mind frame. We're not together. Because what you're involved with, I don't agree with. And that's the disposition that everybody should be in. Not flirting with negativity. Go ahead.
It says, "For you could not lay any greater blot on my honor."
He said, man, I'm not gonna stain my integrity. I'm gonna remain as being a person that was never okay with evil. To the day I die. I'm not gonna be okay with evil. Or evil actions or evil works. He said, now you're not gonna stain my name. You're not gonna stain or pollute my honor or my reputation. Read on.
Than by making such a supposal.
He said, man, you chose wrong. You guessed wrong. Now you got to die. Read on.
It says, when David had said this, he tormented them with all sorts of torment.
And when you go, And when you go to the Bible, you're in the Josephus right now. But when you read the same story in the Bible, it tells you that he cut their hands off first, or he cut their hands off, and he cut their feet off. So he was torturing them. He was cutting their limbs off. And then after he cut their limbs off, then he hung them by the neck. So he played with them a little bit. He let them suffer a little bit. Because he was never okay with wickedness. You have to get to that mind frame to where I'm not okay with wicked people. Neither am I okay with their deeds. And we don't agree together. Everybody has to get to that mindset. Now we're looking at the example of a man who maintained that mindset up until his old age. So, but we have to get to that mind frame. But that takes a lot of looking at things the way the Most High looks at things. That takes a lot of, let me make sure the Most High is okay with these actions before I entertain them. There's a lot to do with that. Let that go and go to Proverbs. Go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 21 verse 1 real quick. Ecclesiastes chapter 21 verse 1. Yes, Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha chapter 21 verse 1. We need to speed it up just a little bit.
Ecclesiastes 21, verse 1. My son, hast thou sinned?
He said, now, if you do sin, if you do make a mistake, you do entertain or flirt with negative. You have done things that was unrighteous in the past. Read on.
Do so no more.
He said, then you got to do what? First thing you got to do is stop. That's the definition of repent. To change, to do it no more. I don't do these things that I'm not about the things that keep me negative. I'm not about this anymore. Because I understand the repercussion of it and the disconnection that happens between me and the Father. I care about my relationship with the Father. He said, do so no more. Go to Proverbs chapter 28, verse 13. We're going to speed it up just a little bit. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 13. Let that go. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 13.
13.
Somebody else give me 1 John chapter 1, verse 8.
Proverbs chapter 28, verse 13. He that covereth his sins shall not prosper.
He said, but if you have been about negative, he says, don't be trying to hide your sin. If you have been wrong, you have flirted with evil, then you know what? One thing you have to do is stop whatever you're doing. And you can't be covering it up. You can't act like it never happened. You got to stop lying. You got to be honest about your mistakes. You got to be honest about your evil.
My foul intentions.
Right. And what I've done that was wrong in the eyes of the Most High. Read on.
Right.
But whoso confesseth,
He said, but whoso confesseth, what?
confesseth and forsaketh,
And I
Yeah.
change. I don't just
Come.
confess, but confession is also an acknowledgement that I have done it. Don't hide. If you've been wrong, stop running. Stop lying. Come out with what you've been wrong about and what you've been doing, so and confess it and not hide it and forsake it. Now I'm not about that anymore. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
My question is, what if the person doesn't confess but he forsakes?
We're gonna continue. Go to 1 John 1 and 8. What if he don't confess, but he forsake it? You know what?
The spirit.
The Most High is requiring that we acknowledge our sin. Because if he don't confess it, but he forsake it, it won't be long before he goes back to it because he don't see nothing wrong with it. It's something that happens. There's something that happens when you acknowledge that you're a sinner. You know what the first thing that happens? You're honest about yourself. You're not lying to yourself. Sin is deceitful. We like to tone down and to marginalize our sin. It was a little sin. Little small sin. Man, it wasn't that bad. We like to minimize the depth or the evil of
The
it.
intensity of that.
Right. We like to diminish the intensity of the sin. You know what I'm saying? That's what we like to do. We like to smash it down. It's not so big. It's not such a big thing. But if something happens when I am able to be honest about myself and I put it out there and I acknowledge it to the Most High, then I'm seeing myself. I gotta hear myself say that I'm dirty. Because I don't want to believe it. Sin is deceitful. You got to hear it. If you don't confess it, it won't be long before you think, well, it wasn't that bad. Because that's how deceitful sin is. It tells you in Hebrews 13 that sin is deceitful. But read on.
1 John chapter 1, verse 8. If we say that we have no sin,
Go ahead.
we deceive ourselves.
It says you lying to yourself. You got to say it. You got to admit it. You got to come out with it. The Most High want to hear it. Because you know what we'll do? We'll lie to ourselves. Go ahead.
And the truth is not in us.
And said, and the truth is not what?
In us.
So I got to be able to at least admit my faults. Can't be walking around like I'm Mr. Perfect or Miss Perfect. Read on. The scripture too, brother.
If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins.
He said, if we do what?
If we confess.
The Most High want to hear you say that you was wrong. The Most High want to hear you admit that you're guilty, that you're dirty. He want to hear it out your mouth. Because you know what? Sometimes we don't believe we're that bad. Or sometimes we make excuses that it was because of somebody else. He said that's an exquisite subtlety.
Yeah.
Go to that scripture.
Gotta get that one out.
Hold this right here. Go to Ecclesiastes.
Hangeth his head down.
Yeah.
I love that scripture.
19, verse 25.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 19, verse 25.
And before that, somebody read Ecclesiastes 21 and 6. Yes, Ecclesiastes 21 and 6, and then Ecclesiastes 19 and 25.
You only got 27 though.
Yeah, read that. 25. Read that.
Ecclesiastes 21 and 6.
Mhm.
He that hated to be reproved is in the way of sinners.
It said what?
He that hated to be reproved.
You know why I don't want to confess it? You know I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear or say or admit or confess or acknowledge my sin.
Come.
Because I don't really want nobody to do what?
reproved.
I don't want nobody to correct me.
I'm beyond the checkout.
That's why you know what? When you corner men to sin, man, they go around the bush, through the mountain, around the valley, down in the creek side.
Smoke bombs.
Smoke bombs.
It's not about that. It's about this.
You know, they got
What did you do?
Yeah, they got diversionary tactics. They, you know what I'm saying? Okay, enough about me. Let's talk about what you do wrong. Man got all kind of. They got tools. They got a damn utility belt.
A Batman belt.
Full of deviations, man. Full of deflections. Escapes. Yeah, gadgets to escape the council. It's something about. That's why the Most High want you to acknowledge it. He want you to. He want you to hear it out your own mouth. He said, but a person that can't confess it is a person that what? Read that again.
He that hated to be reproved is in the way of sinners.
Go ahead.
But he that feareth the Most High will repent from his heart.
They say he will change from his heart. He'll change in his mind. It'll start in the mind. You know what? I don't have a problem saying I'm wrong because I know I'm wrong. But a person that has a problem saying they're wrong don't believe they're wrong. They don't believe it. But let that go and go back to where we was at.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 19, verse 25.
Go ahead.
Fake shame right
Yeah, fake
There-
shame.
Okay.
Go ahead.
there is an exquisite subtlety.
And he says, this is what you have to beware of. He says, because there's people who do wrong, meditate on wrong. He says, but they appear like they've changed. They appear, oh, they feel bad. They appear like there's really some guilt or some shame about what they did. He said, this is exquisite means it's a very skillful subtlety. Means you have to have spiritual discernment to identify this type of subtlety. It's exquisite. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
This is talented.
You gotta take talent to be to be this deceitful.
You gotta have.
You gotta have a little talent in this. You gotta be around for a while.
Yeah, you just can't get this kind of subtlety.
It's
you have to have been in situations like this before.
It's like a lawyer.
You experience.
I'm experienced. I'm a lawyer in the law. I'm gonna play this little I'm looking
tit for tat, word game.
Yeah, the word game is a great one though.
Did you see me do it? But the whole idea is treacherous. It's deceitful. What is this exquisite subtlety? Read on.
It says, and the same is unjust.
He says, and the same is what?
Unjust.
He says this is unjust. What are these type of personalities that you have to watch out for who really don't have a fear of the Lord? Read on.
There is one that turneth aside to make judgment appear.
There's one that's playing. It's a play actor. This is a theatrical play. This is an actor. They turn aside as if what?
To make
judgment appear.
They stop doing what they're doing to make it look like they learned their lesson or they really feel bad. So they just put what they do on hold. They put what they do on pause.
I'm pausing the sin.
They just put the pause. They hit the pause button on sin. And they do that just to let the focus and the reproof and the correction until it kind of lightens up and goes away. But it's not really sincere. They just hit the pause button. Read on.
It says, and there is a wise man that justifies.
And he says there's another type of subtlety for a person that does know better. But why they don't change, but they do know better.
I'm using scriptures to say why I should do it. Just like Satan.
Right.
What does Satan do? He says, doesn't it say if you jump off this ledge,
that lest you dash thy foot against a stone, that
God.
the angel shall bear thee up?
God.
Does it not say that that the Most High that the Most High loves you? Or what was this? He said in Luke 4, he said that the angels that you dash your foot against a stone, like he said
I'm going to get it out.
you just go
because he was pretty good at it.
But he brought different. He used scriptures to justify motivating Christ to do acts, to be motivated, to persuade him to take action on his own behalf and not wait for the Most High to take care of him. He was just trying to push Christ to take action for himself and to think for himself and to act on his own accord. But Christ would not break his relationship nor deviate from the Most High taking care of him and overseeing his well-being.
Can I read?
Yeah, go.
Matthew 4:1.
No, just read it real quick when he says.
It's a lot of them.
Read. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll read fast. Then was Yahushua led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward had a hunger. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread.
He said, if you be the Son of God. So what he was doing is playing with his doubt. He was playing with the doubt. If you be the Son of God, he was trying to get him to be motivated off of the fact that, well, since I am the Son of God, I might as well turn the stone to bread. So all he was trying to do was get Christ to submit by forcing him to take action on his own behalf and not submit himself to the will of the Most High. Because that's what we do. When we start taking action on our own behalf, we're disconnected from the Father. But that's why Christ came back and said what?
But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Then the devil taketh him up into the holy city, and setteth him up on the pinnacle of the temple, and saith unto him, if thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written.
Because the devil said what?
For it is written.
So the devil knows scriptures too. He said it is written what?
He shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Jesus said unto him, It is written again, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy power. Again, the devil taketh him up into the exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and saith unto him, All these things will I give unto thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then said Yahushua unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. So this spirit was sitting here constantly trying to find what are his secret motivations. Are you hungry? Are you tired? You feel like nobody's worshiping you? You feeling appreciated? What am I going to take to motivate you to break the law of the Most High, or break the understanding of God, to be self-willed, self-motivated, and to and focus on your self-promotion, promoting yourself,
Self-propelled.
self-willed? Are they?
Yeah.
As the scripture says, going back to that subtlety. So this subtle person, knowing the scriptures, I can use scriptures to justify myself, but I know biblically and understanding I'm wrong. I'm off.
Right. But I can justify what I'm doing through scripture. And he said that's an exquisite subtlety. That's skillful. That's skillfully deviant. That's skillfully crooked. Because I'll use scriptures to be out of order, not for the purpose of being in order. He said this is an exquisite subtlety that you got to watch out for. Some people that know scriptures will use them to justify their actions. And he said that's skillful, but it's wrong. Read on.
Verse 26. There is a wicked man that hangeth down his head.
And he
sadly.
said another personality type is a person that acts like they've been corrected. They received chastisement.
I got
they
it
received okay, bro. You know what? I was wrong, bro.
Dang,
Man, I messed up, man. Man, my bad.
You're right.
You know, hey, man, the water for that, brother. The water for that counsel. The water for, checking me, bro. I needed that right now. And they put on the show. They put on the impersonation that they really feel bad.
The repentance impersonation.
Yeah. The sorrowful, droopy, shameful countenance. But read on.
It says, but inwardly.
It said, but what?
Inwardly.
But where?
Inwardly.
Go ahead.
He is full of deceit.
He said inwardly, inside him. On the outside, he feels sad. He looks sad. He look like, oh, he's taking a check. He looks like he's humble. Or she looks like she's humble. It looks like she's in the pursuit of following and being obedient. It looks like this person wants to change on the outside. But inwardly is what?
Full of deceit.
But inwardly, that's not their mind frame. Inwardly, that's not their intention. Inwardly, that's not how they really feel. They're feigning how they feel. They're faking it
For the eyes of men.
for the sake of the circumstance. You know what? Because now that the pressure's on, the microscope is on me, so I just gotta play for a little while that everything is I'm bad. I don't feel good about what I did. I feel bad. I feel sorrowful. I'm not sincere about it. But read on.
Verse 27. Casting down his countenance.
Casting down my what?
Countenance.
So there's some people who are fake feeling guilty. They're fake feeling shame. They're fake feeling corrected or feeling repentative. There's fake repentance. Read on. Because when you really repent, you don't do what you used to do anymore. When you really repent, you're a whole different person. You're not about that life anymore. You've changed completely when you really repent. There's no evidence and there's no remnant of the way you used to be still remaining.
Come.
Read on.
It says, and making as if he heard not, where he is not known, he will do thee a mischief before thou be aware.
Before thou be aware where he is not. Ain't nobody, the checkers aren't here.
The microscope is gone.
The microscope is gone. The watchers are not here. Listen, I'm going to do me now. I'm comfortable. I just need to be comfortable to get in my element.
I just needed to buy time to get myself off the hot seat
Calm.
and under scrutiny. Say it again. Mhm. And you know what? Then what are you going to do with it? What should you do? Well, you know, like the class is talking about, if you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision. And that decision is yours. And that's why he says you got to make a choice. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 19, and somebody give me Joshua. Joshua what? Give me Deuteronomy 30 and 19.
30:19, right?
Mm-hmm. And then somebody give me Joshua chapter 24 verse 15. Mm-hmm. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19 reads, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you.
You got to understand, every day you're being watched. Every day you're being, there's a record being kept of all your actions. Whether you say it or not, whether you confess it or not, every secret thing is being notated by the Most High. And all the Most High wants to do is to see if you love him enough to come clean. That's the beginning. But not only did we read earlier that you have to confess it, he said you also have to forsake it. Forsake it means to get rid of it. Forsake it means to abstain from it and depart from it, to let go from it. So it's two things you do. You first confess it, then you cut it off. And the Most High is recording us every day to find out, what are we going to do? Is it the fact that the world is evil? Or is it the fact, can we love the Most High more than we love the flesh? Because that's what he wants to know. You know, half the reason when you read the Old Testament, the whole purpose of the wilderness journey of the children of Israel coming out of Egypt, walking in the wilderness, was to determine if they loved the Most High. Somebody read that real quick, just real fast. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 2, I believe. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 2.
Read
And thou shalt remember
Go ahead.
all the way which the Lord thy power led thee.
You know what the Most High is doing? He's putting you in these situations to see what you're going to do. The world is going to be evil no matter what. But he still wants to know what you're going to do. That's what he wants to know. He said the Most High led the children of Israel all these ways. When?
These 40 years.
For what purpose? Go ahead. Read on.
In the wilderness.
In a place that they were unfamiliar with. Read on.
To humble thee.
For what purpose?
To humble thee.
He said, I made your life uncomfortable because I wanted you to be humble. See, when we're humbled, then we turn back to the Father. But read on.
And to prove thee.
And the Most High is putting each and every one of us to prove. The word prove means to test the quality of. He's testing the quality of you as a woman. He's testing your quality. He wants to know what you're made of. He's trying to see, what are you made of? Are you made of faith? Are you made of doubt? What are you made of? He says to prove thee, go ahead.
To know what was in thine heart.
The Most High got us all in a circumstance where he's checking our what?
Heart.
He's checking our heart. He's doing a coro check, a corazon check. He's checking your heart. He wants to see what you're going to do. Although the circumstances are there, still want to know what decision you want to make. Read on.
Whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or not.
He want to know what? Are you going to keep his commandments or not? What are you going to do? That's what he want to know. That's why everything in each and everybody has a tailor-made battle or tailor-made custom life that's fitted just for them to determine everything. Each and every one of us go through is by design. It's made just for us to determine, are you going to remain faithful? Or do you really believe? Do you believe in what you're reading? Do you believe that the Most High is? That he exists? Do you believe he's watching you? That's what he wants to know. Read on.
And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger,
And he made things uncomfortable for us. Go ahead.
and fed thee with manna which thou wouldest, Salakia, thou knewest not,
Read on.
neither did thy fathers know,
Go ahead.
that he might make thee know that man doeth not live by bread alone.
And this is what Christ just said to Satan. I don't need that. I don't need your temptation. What Dawiyah just broke down in Matthew. I don't need what you have to give me. That's not going to sustain me. That's a temporary fix. Because bread, you eat it, you poop it out. Then you're hungry again. No different than drugs. You take it, you feel something
For a season.
for a minute, and then it's gone. But it's not real. It's not real nutrients. It's not real substance. It's not something that's really could feed you for what you really need. It doesn't fix the problem. It doesn't fix it. There's no solution to it. And that's why Christ told Satan what? Man should not live by bread alone. Go ahead.
But by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Lord doeth man live.
You want a greater feeling than anything, any food or drug can offer you? Then take a bite out of what the Most High has to give you. Because what the Most High has to give you is filling. It's fulfilling. It's really nourishing. And it's really powerful. And it really changes the circumstance. And that's why it said he's just watching us. Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 19. Read it again.
Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you.
And every one of us are being watched and recorded. Each and every one of us. Go ahead.
That I have set before you life and death.
And in this life that he's given us, you choose what you want. He put both of them in front of you. He put life in front of you. He put death in front of you. Read on.
Blessing and cursing.
He says you can be blessed or you could be cursed. But you have to make the decision of what you want. What do you want your life to consist of? Read on.
Therefore, choose life.
But what does the Most High want you to do?
Choose life.
Does he want you to choose cursing? Does he want you to choose death? He's actually in your corner. He's actually rooting for you to make the right decision. He said he wants you to choose what?
Life.
He wants you to choose life. And what does that mean? Go to Joshua chapter 24 verse 15.
Joshua 24 to 15. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Most High,
It says, then he said, if it seems evil for you to serve the Lord, read on.
choose you this day.
He says, then make a choice. If it's a bad thing to follow the Most High, he said, then make a choice. Because that's what the Most High wants you to do. He wants you to make a choice. He said, choose ye this day what?
Whom ye will serve.
He says, make a decision who you're going to serve. That's all the Most High wants to know. What, are you really about yourself? Or do you love him? You love him more than yourself. And what did Joshua say? Read on.
Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell.
And you know what? When you read it, when you get more understanding about these gods, part of the worship of these ancient gods required drugs. They required some type of entheogen. They required some type of hallucinogenic. They required some type of astral projection, mind-altering drug. That was part of the worship of other gods. They required you to partake in some type of, they all had what you call a grove. And this grove had things growing within this grove. And this is why the Most High said when you besiege a nation, you cut it down and burn it down. He don't want any remnants or relics that come from these other nations, because part of the worship of other demons or other nations or other gods was drug use. So he don't want that mingled and mixed with him. Read on.
But as for me and my house,
But Joshua said, you make the decision that's best suited for you. You either choose the demons that our forefathers served and made a mistake following, or he said, for me and my house, he said what?
we will serve The Most High.
So what was Joshua's choice? He said, you're going to serve the Most High. He said, for me and my house, we're going to serve the Most High. Joshua said, I'm making a choice. He said, my choice is to serve the Most High. Finish that in Deuteronomy 30 and 19. Or if you got it, y'all, go ahead and finish it.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19. It says, now
Yeah, I got
therefore,
that too.
write ye this song for you, and teach it to the children of Israel.
Somewhere.
Put it on their
Right
mouth,
here, I got it.
that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel.
He says, go ahead.
It says, we're in verse
No, read verse 19 again.
Verse 19. Now therefore, write ye this song for you, and teach it the children of Israel.
Are you in 30 and 19?
Oh, I got 31.
Read it.
Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you that I have set before you life and death,
Read on.
blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
He says that thou and thy seed may what?
Live.
So the Most High wants you and your children to live. He wants you and your children to live. And so he's rooting for you to make the best decision. He's rooting for you to make the best choice. Your choices will sustain the lives of your children. It's all their future rides in your decision making. Their safety is predicated upon what decision you make. It's critical. It's even bigger than you. It's about you, but it's also bigger than you. Because it's not only your generation and you, it's also your children's generation that'll be affected. So he's telling us what choice he wants us to make. But that's a beautiful thing that you can bring this out. But then you just got to finish the process. Part of the process is the confession. Go back to that in where we were in give me we stopped in Proverbs chapter 28 verse 13. Read that one more time. And then give me Job 34 and 21.
Proverbs chapter 28, verse 13.
Read that.
It says, he that covereth his sins shall not prosper,
Go ahead.
but whoso confesseth and forsaketh.
See, one part is the confession. The other part is the forsaking. What's the definition of forsake?
I'm looking for it. I got you.
Definition of the word forsake. While he do that, somebody read Job chapter 34 verse 21.
Okay, Job chapter 34, verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
Job chapter 34, verse what?
21.
21. Reads, for his eyes are upon the ways of man.
It says the Most High's eyes are what?
Upon the ways of men.
The Most High is always watching man to see what man is going to do. Man or woman. Read on.
And he seeth all his going.
And he's checking out everything you do. He's checking. He knows what you're doing. It's not like he don't know. But he want to see, do you have enough integrity? Do you have enough faith to say what you've done? And then if you do have enough faith to say what you've done, do you have the other half of the faith, which in belief and fortitude, to stop what you're doing? And that's why it says you got to confess it and then what?
And forsake.
And the definition of forsake.
Forsake. To renounce or turn away from entirely.
How?
Entirely.
To play with it here and there, on and off and on.
Entirely.
Here a little, there a little.
Entirely.
Sometimes.
Entirely.
So when you forsake something, you stop it for good.
To quit.
It means to what?
To quit.
So he says one part of what the Most High wants out of us is the confession. The other part is what?
To quit.
So read that
entirely.
Again. To quit entirely. Read that again.
It says, he that covereth his sin shall not prosper.
Go ahead.
But whoso confesseth and forsaketh them.
So now I confess it and then I quit entirely. Read on.
Shall have mercy.
And the Most High will do what?
Shall have mercy.
He's going to come back and have mercy. Mercy is kindness and friendship. And this is what the Most High will restore with us. It'll restore our relationship with the Father. So read that right there in Job chapter 34, verse 21.
For his eyes are upon the ways of men,
Go ahead.
and he seeth all his goings. There is no darkness nor shadow of death, where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves.
It says, you know what? You might as well confess what you're doing. You know why? Because the Most High know it anyway. He sees what you're doing anyway. You're not fooling anybody. Nobody's fooling anybody.
You not deceive, God is not mine.
Right. So what the Most High is waiting on is the confession. Psalms 32 and 5. Psalms chapter 32, verse 5.
Psalms chapter 32, verse 5. It says,
Go ahead.
I acknowledge my sin unto thee.
And this is why David said what?
I acknowledge my sin unto thee.
He says, I confess my sin unto thee. I will bring it out. Read on.
And mine iniquity have I not hid.
And David said, I'm not going to hide the things that I do wrong. Not only am I not going to hide the things I do wrong, but I'm acquitted. Read on.
I said, I will confess my transgressions unto the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin.
And the Most High will do what?
Forgivest the iniquity of my sin.
And he'll forgive the iniquity of our sin. So this is how we restore our relationship with the Father. You bring it out, because there is some shame. There is some guilt involved. But you can't overcome the shame. You can't overcome the guilt until you make a confession. But that's one half of it. The other half is to quit entirely, or to forsake the actions that cause the Most High to be at a distance with you. This is how you reconnect your relationship back with the Most High. And he said he'll have mercy. David said he'll forgive us. This is what the Most High that's all he's been waiting on. And it's not like he don't know what we're doing. He's just waiting for us to change. And then the minute we change, he comes to us. He even starts to hear our prayers. Because what the scripture says, that the Most High heareth not the prayers of sinners. This is why the Most High has not been answering the things I've been praying for. He's been waiting on me to stop. He's been waiting on me to give it up. Now that I'm back on good terms with the Father, when I don't do those things I used to do, now the Most High opens his ears again. Go ahead.
Jeremiah 3 and 13. Jeremiah 3 and 13. Only acknowledge thine iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against the Lord thy God, and hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree. And ye have not obeyed my voice, saith the Lord. Almost like waiting for us is to acknowledge our issues. A lot of times we live in denial. You can't get fixed if you live in denial. And you can't get fixed if you don't decide to make a decision or a choice. I'm not going to live like this anymore.
Right. Ecclesiastes chapter 15, verse 17.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 15, verse 17 reads, before man is life and death.
It says, just like we read in Deuteronomy, before man is what?
Life and death.
You go ahead.
And whether him liketh shall be given him.
And whichever one you want, you get. You get what you want in this life. You get blessings and curses, or you get life and death. You make the choice. It's on you. Read on.
For the wisdom of the Lord is great.
It says the Most High knows everything. Read on.
And he is mighty in power, and beholdeth all things.
It says he's mighty in power, and he's watching everything. The Most High is omniscient. He's all-knowing. He's omnipotent, meaning he's all-powerful. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere at the same time. The Most High, there's nowhere that we can go to run or hide, or nothing we can't do that the Most High is not acknowledging or have knowledge of. There's no secrets with the Most High. There is no secrets. We just try to keep secrets with man, with each other. But there's no secrets with the Most High. But the Most High wants to see, do you have the capacity to confess it and bring it out? That's why he says in James 5 and 16, what? Somebody read James 5 and 16. And then come back to where you at in Ecclesiastes.
James chapter 5, verse 16. It says, confess thy faults one to another, and pray for one another, that you may be healed.
And so you bring it out so that other people can pray for you. Because when you compound prayers, your prayers on top of other people's prayers for your circumstance, the Most High listens to that. Read on.
It says, the effectual and fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much.
And so you need other people involved for your situation and your circumstance so you can be healed on it. So this is how you bring other people into your situation where you might not feel you're strong enough. This is where other people will fast and pray for you. Now where you're not strong enough, and now you got other people petitioning on your behalf, asking the Most High to strengthen you through this process and to heal you through this process. So the confession brings other people and bring them into your battle where you're being defeated at. It's like having backup when you're getting jumped. You have 2 people jumping you, and then 4 people show up on your behalf. It changes the odds of things, and that's one reason you gotta confess. But let that go and go back to where we at in
Verse 19. And his eyes are upon them that fear him,
Go ahead.
and he knoweth every work of men.
He says he knows every work of man. There's nothing you can do in secret. There's nothing nobody can do in secret. For those slick, willing and dealing people that think they can deceive the Most High,
The exquisites.
the exquisite subtleties, the people that think they're sharp, they're smooth criminals, for the smooth criminals, that I'm just so smooth, I'm never going to get caught because nobody know. Man, the Most High, there's nothing you can hide. There's no secrets with the Most High. He's just waiting on you to acknowledge it and say it. Read on.
He have commanded no man to do wickedly,
Go ahead.
neither have he given any man license to sin.
It says, neither has he given any man license to sin. It's not okay. Sin is not okay. It's never been okay. But you have to make a choice. See, the Most High's hope is Jeremiah chapter 32, verse 40. This is what the Most High's hope is. Jeremiah chapter 32, verse 40.
Jeremiah chapter 32 and verse 40.
And somebody give me 1 Timothy 6 and 14.
32 and 40. And I will make an everlasting covenant.
The Most High said, if you change, if you repent, he says he'll make an everlasting agreement with you. Read on.
With them, that I will not turn away from them.
He said, I will always be there for them. Nothing's going to stop me from being there for them. Read on.
To do them good.
And he said, I will only do them good. See, when we get the mercy of the Most High, we get a protector. We get a provider. We get a safety. We get somebody that oversees our development and cares about us and loves us. And he'll ensure that everything in our life goes right. Better than what we expected. Read on.
But I will put my fear in their hearts, that they shall not depart from me.
So what the Most High wants, he wants you to study his word enough so that you develop the fear of the Lord, so that you never depart from him. That's the Most High's hope. That's his goal for you. It's for you to study the Bible enough so that you can learn to fear the Lord, so that nothing can break you and his relationship. That's what he said he wants, right? That's what he said, right?
Come.
So that's what he wants. Let that go and go to 1 Timothy 6 and 14.
1 Timothy 6 and 14. That thou keep this commandment without spot.
He says, and when you do fear the Lord, and you make sure that nothing damages your relationship with the Most High, you read to make sure that, and you study to make sure that you don't cause any spots or blemishes to change how the Most High looks at you. You don't want the Most High to change his perspective toward you. This is why we don't, you got on a white shirt, you spill some ketchup on it, you eat some french fries. Man, that spot, even though it's small, to you it looks like it's this big. Because it's damn, I got this fresh white shirt on, and now I got this big old red ketchup stain in the middle. It just destroys the whole outfit. It ruins the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Because this one stain is small, but it's obvious. And everybody's like, oh, that's a nice outfit. Oh, what's that? You know what I'm saying? That's how our mistakes look with the Most High. Although we may do things that we think are small,
We do good.
but it destroys the whole relationship with the Father. That's why he said he wants your relationship to be without spot. Go ahead.
Unrebukable.
And he wants it to be what?
Unrebukable.
Unrebukable is just talking about where you're blameless. Nobody can point the finger at you. And also that you don't fall into mischief. He don't want you to fall into mischief. And that word unrebukable also means to fall into bondage or fall into mischief. He don't want you backsliding. Read on.
Until the appearing of our Lord Yahushua.
So he wants you to be clean until when?
The appearing of our Lord Yahushua.
Which is Jesus Christ. He wants you to be clean until Christ come back. So can you keep yourself clean without spot until Christ come back? Can you not let anything ruin your relationship with the Most High until Christ comes back? Because that's what the Most High is waiting on. That's his requirement. That's his request for us. Let that go and go to Proverbs 24:16.
Proverbs chapter 24, verse 16. Reads, for a just man falleth 7 times.
And guess what? Being that we are in the flesh, we're going to make mistakes. But the idea is to minimize and diminish and do away with those mistakes. And if I do make a mistake, read on.
And riseth up again.
I got to get back on my feet. And the thing that I have to restore is my relationship with the Father. Because obviously, what made me fall is the first thing we read in Hebrews, the first verse we read in Hebrews chapter 12. What makes you fall is sin. It's the sin that you do that causes you to fall or to get off track or to fall from mischief, fall into mischief. Somebody read Hebrews 12:1. That's what we started with.
Hebrews chapter 12.
So guess what? If a just man falls 7 times, then I got to learn what is it that's making me fall. It's my sins. And I'll get up and I'll make sure, man, you know what? Let me not do that sin anymore. But you know what? When you defeat one sin, you still got to go defeat the other ones. That's just one battle that you have to overcome to get to the next one. And then you'll get weak to the other one, and then you'll overcome that one. Then you go on and fight, and you keep fighting. Read that.
Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witness,
Read on.
let us lay aside every weight.
It says, let us lay aside every what?
Weight.
Weights are things that hold you down. You got to get rid of the things that's holding you down. This has been something that you've been fighting with for a long time. But he said you got to get rid of it. You got to let it go. You got to cut it off. He said, let us lay aside every weight or anything that keeps you chained up. Anything that's got control over you. Anything that's got you bound. Read on.
And the sin, which doth so easily beset us.
It says because it's the sin that makes us fall. Whether the issue is drugs, whether the issue is alcohol, whether the issue is sex, whether it's pornography, sin is sin. It don't matter what it is. It all has the same repercussion. It knocks you off track with the Father. It destroys your relationship with the Most High, and you're left feeling guilty. Now you're left feeling disconnected. Now you're left feeling. Now I gotta hide. I gotta be more secretive. Now I'm really confused because now I don't know if the Most High is with me or not. I feel disconnected because that's what sin does. That's what the definition of beset us is.
To perplex.
Yeah, and it's perplexed. It just means to be confused. Now I don't know what to do. But you got to know what to do. Read on.
And let us run with patience the race that is set before us.
You got to get back in the race. Say a just man falls 7 times, you fall by sin. But you get back up and get back on the race. You get back and start running again. But how do you run again? The scripture say, clean hands make a man what?
Stronger and strong.
Somebody read that.
Job 17:9.
Read that.
Job chapter 17, verse 9. 17, verse 9. Job chapter 17 and verse 9. The righteous also shall hold on his way,
Go ahead.
and he that have clean hands,
And it say he that got what?
clean hands.
Keep your hands clean. Keep our minds clean. Keep our hands clean. The word hand is yad. Yad is power. It's what you touch. It's what you put your strength to. Don't put your strength to anything that's going to defile you. Don't put your hands on anything that's going to contaminate your relationship with the Most High. Somebody say, he that had clean hands, go ahead.
Shall be stronger and stronger.
So the way that you get stronger and stronger is you keep yourself at a distance from sin, from the things that keep you in bondage, the things that keep slowing you down and knocking you off track. The more and more you distance yourself from these things, the stronger you become. The more you study and develop the fear of the Lord, the more your relationship with the Father is connected. All right, last verse. Go to Mark chapter 2, verse 21.
Mark chapter 2, verse 21.
Go ahead.
It says, no man also seweth a piece of a new cloth on an old garment,
Read on.
else the new piece that is filled it up taketh away from the old.
He says, no man put a new piece, a new patch on an old garment. The fibers are different. The tension level is different. The strength of the fabric is different. A new garment hasn't been stretched out yet. It's not loose, it's tight. So if you put a new patch on an old garment, what is it going to do? The tension of the new fibers are so strong, it's going to do what? Read on.
And the rent is made worse.
It's going to tear the garment up even more. So you can't add what the Most High has in store for you and add that to a person that's still contaminated with the old man.
Old routine.
The old man with his old habits. You can't confuse the two. Read on.
And no man putteth new wine into old bottles,
Go ahead.
else the new wine doth burst the bottle,
You'll waste the knowledge and information if you don't change. It'll do no good. It'll serve no purpose if you don't change. Read on.
and the wine is spilled, and the bottles will be marred.
Read on.
But new wine,
And so the new wine is this new knowledge. This new wine is a new lifestyle. New wine is new habits. New wine is a new way of thinking. New wine is new information. The new wine is the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, which is a new standard of living. So when you live for the Most High with this new wine, read on.
it says, but new wine must be put into new bottles.
It says the bottle must be made new. That means you got to be new in order to be a vessel to hold the new wisdom of the Most High. You got to be a new person. Read on.
Verse 23. And it came to pass.
That's it. He said, but new wine must be in new bottles. Yes.
On your note. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17.
Read that.
It says, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature.
So being in Christ, you got to be a new creature. That's when you could really take off with this information. That's when this knowledge really does you good. That's when it becomes powerful. Is when you change the person that you are with the knowledge, and you forsake that old person. Read on.
Old things are passed away.
And he said the things that you used to get caught up with, those weights that held you down, the habits, the sin that you dealt with. Read on.
It says all things are become new.
And the Most High not only is going to make you a new person, but your relationship will be restored. You have a brighter future with the Most High versus pining away at your sins, versus self-destructing. See, there's a beauty to changing, but the process is not overnight.
So the old relationships gotta pass away.
Yep.
I gotta build new relationships.
Got to build new relationships.
I should know automatically. If I'm going to old relationships, I already know what the old routine is.
Yep.
If I go to an old relationship, I know I'm going to the old routine. If I build new relationships, I'm building a new routine.
I'm now setting forth a pattern of good works. I have to create a pattern of good works. I got to be around new people. So I got to disconnect. You know, if I got to lose friends for my salvation, then consider them cut off. This is about my relationship with the Father. It's not about the bonds or the likes of things we used to do or the things we have in common. This is about where is my peace and my connection with the Most High. That's more important than anything else. You got to protect that. But with that, we're gonna go ahead and end the class. I want to say the water for listening, the water for coming out. Shalom.
Shalom.
And there's class on Friday again. Kawakabi will be teaching on Friday. So join in to the ISBHPK channel on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And
Peace
we
to
hope-
brothers out there in Houston.
and shalom
peace-
to the brothers in Houston, Virginia, all the other sister camps that we have. And we salute those brothers that teach this word and live this lifestyle.
God.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.